Boy, do we have reason to pitch. Although, I don't know, how do you look at this? Would you say,
I'm negative.
the Panthers made progress by making it into the second round of the NHL Stanley Cup chase? Now, you have to win 4 rounds to win the thing, so pretty far off. They did get out of the first round for the first time, but didn't look too comfortable doing it, did they? Did they look like somebody that had to go to the bathroom the entire time they were sitting at dinner? But didn't want to get up because they want to go take a dump in the public bathroom while eating dinner there. That gets a little obnoxious. And then you come out of the stall and there's somebody else in the bathroom. They're just combing their hair and they're like, whoa, man, get a little fiber in your diet. Why don't you? I mean, try some wheat, anything.
The time. Wake up with Defo, joined by Lubie. Welcome to the Defo Show.
And a very pleasant good morning, everybody. Great to be with you here on the Defo Show. Jeff Deforrest and one Mike Lubitz, who I understand just knocked it out of the park here in the time that I was away. Well, away, when you say I was away.
I was going to say, why can't you phrase it?
It's usually a euphemism for your doing time and in prison. I remember a guy that I worked with in the boxing business for a while. I hadn't seen him for about... seemed like 10 years, and he was running some kind of boiler room operation with credit cards, if you can imagine, on the side. And when I saw him, he said, hey, how you doing? You're looking good. I said, I'm doing great. How about you? Where you been? He said, I've been away.
Yeah, exactly.
That usually means like 8 to 10.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's a probation officer probably very nearby, maybe even intercepting some of these telephone calls. So be careful what you say, because he might have gotten out because he's now in with the feds. So you got to watch all of your commentary with guys like that. When a guy tells you he's been away for a while, usually you want to walk away. Hey, good to see you, Joey. Always enjoyed working with you, man. I hope everything goes well for you. Good luck in your future. Yeah, and then whoosh, right out of there. And you hope, you notice right away he's wearing an ankle monitor, and you're thinking, not necessarily good. I mean, he's out here for a reason. All of a sudden, he's contacting all of the people he did business with before.
He's writing out.
Anyway, back from Italy, and it was a very, just enjoyable trip. It was nice to be away, Lubie. Nice. I was thinking during the time that I was on this vacation that I hadn't really had a vacation of that length, probably in my lifetime. After I started working, I never was able to take that much time off before, except during times, hiatuses between jobs. And then there was that one luxurious period where I got signed by a radio station here in town that was going all sports. I got signed away from what was the perceived sports leader, WIOD. I go to QAM, a fledgling operation, almost as if I was signing up for the Saudi tour, although without the political ramifications and implications. And we'll get into that because that's a whole other story that is mushroomed today.
On fire.
Into new proportions. See, it used to be good, like when you turned 50 in the pro golf genre, and you would go to the seniors tour, and Ray Floyd had the classic line about that, where, he was 49 years old. He was, still playing some tour events, but he wasn't cashing or doing exceptionally well. And then next day he turns 50. He's on the, was then called the seniors tour, now the champions tour. And he had the great line. It said, you know what? Yesterday I was a 49-year-old washed up has-been, and today I'm a rookie. And the 50-year-old guys, when they came on the seniors tour, would tend to dominate because, let's face it, they were able to outduel an aging Chichi Rodriguez, who still had the thing with the putter and everything, but none of the balls were going in the hole. Come on, Cheech. You going to hit that thing or what? What are you, Sir Lancelot? No, it was entertaining, but it was a great advantage for the people. And Phil, I think, took advantage of that also, right? Phil Mickelson, who is now the big story in golf because he signed up for, is it called the Live Tour? Is that it? LIV?
LIV, yeah. I think it's
kind of ironic since, if you were Khashoggi, you were probably thinking...
Exactly.
I don't know how representative of what you guys are all about, this idea that this is the Live Tour. But that's getting underway this week, and they did get a couple of defectors. Dustin Johnson, that kind of surprised me that he would leave the PGA Tour, but money talks, nobody walks. Apparently, $125 million guaranteed to Dustin Johnson just for playing in these events against like a field of 47 others. The field is going to be 48 deep, and like the other big name on the tour is Kevin Na, who decided to leave the PGA Tour. That was actually a headline in Europe.
Oh,
on the
really? That
BBC.
was like a big deal.
Yeah, I wasn't that big of a deal, but they only gave you like one sports headline
Yep.
on BBC Europe, which was
Yep.
one of two English channels that were available on Italian TV, at least in the hotels that I was staying at, which were premium. Thank you very much, Vicky Sachs, the lovely wife of Marty the Party Sachs, booked all of these trips and all of the details of the trip. And for the most part, it could not have gone off any smoother.
I'm
It was
shocked and happy.
unbelievable. Well, I mean, in terms of the arrangements that Vicky had made for us, there are a couple of quirky things that took place that cost us a little bit in terms of time and maybe a little bit of distress, but and not enough to make a difference. And other than that, it really was as well timed out an adventure as I've ever seen. You would have thought that she had put together an itinerary for the Queen to attend the Jubilee. If a car was supposed to pick us up at 7:40, a very nicely appointed automobile would show up right at 7:40. If we were supposed to go here, catch a train, everything was just absolutely perfectly arranged for us. So that couldn't have been any nicer. A couple of things, though, you'll find this surprising, Lubie, about the trip. And, I will say this. Food everywhere in Italy. Food available everywhere and very reasonably priced. You go to a restaurant, dinner for two with a bottle of wine was like 50 euros, maybe even less. And it was delicious and well made and well prepared. And they don't rush you out of there. There's no bums rush to pick up the check. In fact, you have to find a guy.
I told you.
To go get the guy who's already home who was serving you just to cash out. And then the other weird thing I couldn't get used to because I don't know. I consider myself a relatively generous tipper. I was in the service business. I was a waiter before I got started in this racket. I worked in several different restaurants in different areas, also in New York and in Los Angeles. And, it was a time here when my career was teetering that I almost ended up leaving. I came that close. I was sitting outside a restaurant. I forget the name of it. It was a classy joint in Coral Gables. And you probably could have made pretty good money being a waiter there. And I got hired because I had a resume that wasn't that outdated. I had only been here like a couple of years, and it looked like I was going to need some kind of way to make cash. I had a kid, and I wasn't really making the money that I needed to in the broadcast business at the time, and might have been even between jobs. Which have had a couple of brief respites in that area. Would you consider this between jobs? Because we just created our own job here, which is great.
Yes.
So not really between jobs. This
is
what we want. Yeah, this is what we want to do the rest of our lives. I can assure you.
The transition we've made.
Well, and a lot of people are doing it, and it's probably beneficial. I mean, we should have opened our eyes to this years ago. If we had, we probably could have made the transition a little bit more comfortably than having somebody tell you, "Hey, Defo, your last show was great." And by the way, that was your last show.
Which is just what happened.
How's the lighting in here, by the way? One of my lights burnt out while I was on vacation. You think it's all right?
Yeah, you look good.
Because if you people have any comments here and say, geez, would you pull yourself out of the dark, Deforrest?
Well,
I'm there. All right. So anyway, we get over to Italy, and we started out in Venice, and it was beautiful, absolutely gorgeous. Of the three places that we visited, Venice, Florence, and Rome. And we also took a side venture, which this was gorgeous, Lubie. And if you get a chance to go to Italy, have you been there? I think you said you had.
I was there in November. Yeah, that's why I was giving you tips.
Italy.
I love it. It was spectacular. Italy,
Did you by chance go to the Amalfi Coast?
No. I'm jealous. You got to the Amalfi Coast. Good for you.
Wow.
Oh, my God. It's amazing from what Shirley said. Oh, man. Good for you.
It is the route down the Pacific Coast Highway times like 5.
Really?
If you can imagine, yeah. Unbelievable. I mean, just gorgeous, beautiful coastline, cliffs, mountains, winding roads. It's no place to, go if you think your brakes need a little check or some fluid. That's for sure. Now, we know the people, it's easy to say, the people drive crazy there. I don't know that really defines anything because the people drive crazy here, but it's a different kind of crazy.
Yep.
When I say here, I'm talking about Florida. Now, I've driven, I learned how to drive in New York. And around New York City, that I don't know that passive aggressive is the way that you have to approach it. I think it's just flat out aggressive if you're driving in New York City. But it's respected that you're driving in an aggressive nature there. I mean, you might get the finger, the Italian salute, which I found would have been appropriate in many, many instances while being in cars and traveling by any means of transportation on wheel. Even walking in any of these Italian cities. Now, there are no cars in Venice, Lubie. You'll love that. Not a
Yeah,
single car.
I have
You have
not
to
been to
park your
Venice.
car, right, and then take a boat to the island.
Mm.
And that was absolutely fantastic. But you'll find it surprising that we managed to find our way into the only casino
Oh,
in
geez, you did
Venice.
find a casino?
Found a casino. Our theory was you could only eat so much.
Oh, that's
No?
true.
I
Yes,
don't know.
that's
Do I
true.
look any bigger than I did
No.
when I left? No?
No, you
Okay.
walked. You must have walked a lot. I mean, you're not there and not walking.
I worked in my walk of life on as many occasions as I could, but on the occasions where I didn't, I more than compensated for it, I think. Although it's not the same. When you, like I walk 4 miles a day every day when I'm here, with rare exception. And, if you're even if you're going as slowly as you possibly can, even if you look like one of those guys that actually should have a walker with the tennis balls on it, as you're navigating your 4 miles, it's still sustained and you're not stopping. But when you're on these tours, these walking tours and things like that, which isn't necessarily my bag to go on a tour, I like to kind of explore on my own. Now, I do think it's valuable to get some kind of overview of where you're at. So
if you're in a museum, the tours help the museums a little. So, like, we
no doubt.
At one of the museums, it was going to be like $100 for a tour because you had to. We were like, no, so we like hung back and watched the tour because it was ruins. So we were like, okay, what the fuck?
Ruins. Ruins. The key word there is ruin. If you wanted to ruin a trip, go take the tour of the ruins.
Oh, you're not gonna like the
ruins. I could just drive by the ruins, and I'm glad we ended up just sort of driving by the Coliseum there. I don't need to go inside and see every brick and say, "Hey, look at that! You see, Julius Caesar, his blood is on this brick." It was 500 and change ago in terms of years. So
longer than that.
What do I care, man? This guy was schwitzing on some part of the ground
thousands of years ago.
Yeah, we ended up actually touring, and this was one of the few things that I didn't really care for, touring the ruins of Pompeii. Okay. Which, if you're going to go to ruins, these are the ultimate ruins. I mean, those guys.
That's what Shirley said. That's what Shirley said. I never made it there.
Feel yourself, consider yourself, fortunate that you didn't take that tour. That was like a 2-hour tour and a 3-hour tour. It was blazing hot, too. I mean, just absolutely on fire, scalding, not a cloud in the sky. So now imagine this. You're walking around these dusty ruins, and there's only so much to see, right? Everything kind of looks the same. Like if you've been there for 5 minutes, it's like, okay, yeah, nice, some bricks here. Great, they discovered it. But not for me. I would have rather been at the Ippodromo there, which would have been the local racetrack, which wasn't far enough out of town not to have a voice in my head saying, why don't you try it? You know me. I mean, that's one of the things that I want to do. It's one of my goals in my lifetime is to visit every racetrack. And it looks like that's something I'm going to fall short of because who could find that track that the guy that, what was his name? Sonny Leone?
Yeah.
Doesn't it sound like a character in The Godfather?
Yes,
yeah, it was Sonny Leone all the time.
Like a bagman. Yeah, it sounds like
he's going to be riding in the Belmont. Yeah, riding in the Belmont this week. So anyway, so we get to Venice and just beautiful. I mean, fell in love with it right away. At a perfectly situated hotel there, looking out on the water. And, you've got every street is a canal there. I mean, I kept thinking about Jersey Kyle and his seawall business. What a racket that could be. Because it's one thing to have a seawall at your house like I did at the old Deef Mansion there. And, if it's compromised somewhat, it's not like the house is going into the water. But if there's, a leaky seawall and you're actually living right above that, as is the situation with the canals in Venice, then it could be a big problem, right? I mean, I would imagine emergency seawall business has to be very lucrative if you're living in Venice. But you don't see anybody, nothing is under repair there ever. Everything is just, even though they built it like 700 years ago.
They don't touch it.
They don't have to do nothing to it. What kind of architects and designers and engineers did they have back then in 1500 or 1400? I can't see why Columbus left. I mean, what was this man thinking? He had to be out of his mind. They had everything under control there to come to what was then a barren wasteland like the United States of America. Yes. He found this place by accident.
Yes, he did.
That's why it's so bizarre that they're tearing down the statues of him all over the country here. I mean, the guy just was a lost soul, period. Have a little sympathy for the guy, a little empathy.
We get a lot of things.
They're big on severing heads, by the way, throughout the history of Rome. Severing heads.
Oh, yeah, the heads just by themselves? Yeah,
heads.
All over the place.
Yeah, guys holding heads like it was a puppet. I mean, and then you realize there's no body attached to that thing, and it's not really a marionette. Insane people. So we did find a casino the second night we were
Of course you
there.
did.
We decided, okay, well, let's check this out. It happened to be the one night of lousy weather that we had. It was the one night where it was raining, and it was kind of a wicked rain, although I shouldn't say that because I missed the whole thing that happened here, Lubie, which
It wasn't
I
bad.
hope you were okay.
It wasn't bad.
Wasn't bad? All right.
No, it was just rain Saturday. It wasn't that
People are asking us while we're over there, hey, you're from Florida, isn't aren't they under some like hurricane watch? We're like, no big deal, you know.
bad. Yeah, I was gonna say you did.
It's only a Category 3. Who gives a flying one, right? I hope, the leaves don't blow around too much in the backyard. So we venture over to this casino, and it really was like a scene out of James Bond. It was like no casino that I've ever been in the United States. A little too quiet and sophisticated. Everybody's dressed up too.
Oh,
They
really?
wouldn't let you in there. You couldn't be some fat hack from Hoboken in there with a big pair of, ill-fitting shorts and a shirt that's got the buttons popping out and, acting like a fool in there. Come on with that, yo! You didn't get any of that at this casino. And they only had very quietly, people were playing blackjack and roulette. They didn't have craps there. They had a sports book, believe it or not. And there was a soccer game on, and it was that Real Madrid game, where I think Real Madrid, I forget who they beat, but they won it like 1-0 with a late goal, and the place erupted when this goal went off, and then everybody starts cursing in Italian. It was fantastic. I don't want to use a word, but how do you say MFer in Italian? I think it's the same. So
I didn't pick up any
that
of
was
that.
one of the few things that I was able to pick up on as I was in Italy in terms of learning the Italian language, because I picked up like none of it. I couldn't speak one word of Italian, and I don't know why I anticipate that everybody's going to be speaking English. Did you
Nah,
find
it's
that when
not.
you travel to foreign countries?
I do, but Italy's not. It's not bad with English, but it's not great with English either. Italy's
Pretty
like
good.
in the middle.
I would say about at least 35-40% of the people that we tried to communicate with that were essentially speaking Italian all the time, at least understood what we were
Yes.
talking about for the most part.
Yes. Yes.
Although I did do a laundry one time. I ran out of stuff because I was going through a couple of shirts a day with the walk of life and everything. So I mean, how much could I stuff in my suitcase? And I had to do a wash at some point. I knew I was going to anticipate that. And you would think, wouldn't you think hotels that they don't want to
do.
have a laundry room, do they? They don't
Some
have
of
a
them
laundry room.
do.
in hotels.
I've never had to, but I remember a couple of them telling us we can launder if you need a launder. So maybe they all don't. I guess I don't know.
No, that was a money launderer they were talking about.
That's
They
all
one
different.
look at you and they said, Americana Schwein. Anyway, that was an interesting experience because that was the one guy that I could not communicate with in any fashion, whether I was using hand signals or gestures or eye contact, whatever it was. It was very hard for me to communicate to this guy that I wanted to wash these shirts and then subsequently dry them.
Oh, jeez.
And he was like an owner-operator, and it turned out that the reason that I couldn't communicate this with him is that he had his own service where for like $15 he'd do the whole thing for you. And if you just told me that in the beginning, I would have gladly given him the 15 plus 5. These were euros, which
It's about
the euro.
It's almost even. Yeah, it's almost even.
I think the U.S. dollar is worth slightly less than a euro.
Yes, but it's like slightly. Like it was like 90 cents to like $1 or something.
I don't
when I
know. I
was
was
there, like,
cursing
2
out
weeks
Joe
ago.
Biden the last day I was there. It went from like $1.07 to $1.11 in one day.
Okay.
And I
when was
started
there,
thinking,
92
why didn't I vote for Donald Trump?
There
No,
you go.
I never thought that.
There you go.
He would have been able to solve all these problems. No sweat whatsoever. Hey, Donnie,
Yeah,
what are we doing about the Ukraine?
okay.
Well, we love those people there, but we don't mind
Exactly.
seeing them get buried. We've got to spend our money on building a wall. And I don't want to get into that. So we found a casino. It was right out of James Bond. It really was. I mean, you had to pay to get into the casino. Can you believe
Oh,
that? Because they
God,
wanted to
really?
keep the riffraff out. Now, they gave you your money back. It was
Mhm.
kind of like a deal you would see at like the Mardi Gras casino or, Magic City, where, they would give you $10 back. You had to pay 10 to get in, but they gave you 10 back, but you had to bet it. You couldn't cash the chip. So, that ended up costing me both the entry fee for the Mustang and me as one hand of blackjack. Of course, I draw 17, a useless hand. And the dealer has, this is my one hand of blackjack I play. The dealer has 16. And then what happened? Had 15, turns over an ace.
Oh,
So now
Jesus.
16, and then turns over a 5 and blows me out of the wall.
Are you kidding me? Well, that's such a Fucking
One hand.
douche.
I was going to do my famous 3-hand parlay and, just let it ride for 3 hands and hope to win 3 in a row, which is obviously extremely foolish. But we did find a casino there. And then one of the other highlights, and this will be equally shocking to you, Mike Lubitz. You know where my last event was while staying in Rome the night before we left? About 10 o'clock in the evening. We finished up eating dinner. And, people eat late there. There's no early bird.
Yes.
The early bird there is like 8 o'clock.
Yep. People very late there. Yep.
Restaurants don't even open till 7:30. 7:30, right? I mean, right? We're screaming at 4 o'clock. Hey!
When they shut down, midday, they shut down. If you try to be between like 4 and 7, they're like all on siesta.
They look at you like you're out of your mind. What do you mean? We're not open. What are you, crazy? By the way, you could use an opportunity to skip a few meals, if you know what I mean, Mr. Americano. But anyway, so we finish up, and it was beautiful. It was a beautiful evening. The transition from day to nighttime there is absolutely spectacular. As I said, it was extremely hot with clear skies, so it was absolutely gorgeous when they transition. And it's a late sky, if you will. I don't know how to describe it, but like 8:30 at night, it's still light out.
Yes.
So I don't know. Are they on any kind of savings time there, or is it just because they're on a different part of the globe?
Yeah. I mean, it's just where they are. They're more north. Yes, I don't know where.
So we come out of that, and we were sitting across from the Teatro d'Opera of Rome.
Okay, look at you.
Teatro d'Opera, right? So I was saying in the Mustang, I thought I saw some kind of a sign that they had a version of the 3 tenors there. Now, it wasn't those 3 tenors. It was like 3 other tenors.
Like Schmo, Mo, and Joe.
With a tenor saxophone and some fat Italian who was selling Spumoni ice cream before he got the job there. So we're walking back, and the hotel was right next to this place. And, we just happened to see the guy that was handing out the flyers earlier in the day. And the Mustang approaches him and says, hey, we saw that you were handing out some flyers earlier. What was that for? And the guy kind of nods at us. He doesn't speak English. And he opens a side door to the Teatro d'Opera and lets Mustang and I walk in the side door and sit down for free.
Nice. Pulling a move in Rome.
It was like sneaking into a Met game back.
That's great.
And you know me, I love this kind of shit.
You're not saying no. It could suck. You'd be so happy.
So all these people are in there, and it was kind of hot in there. I mean, everybody was schwitzing and fanning themselves, and we roll into a nice spot and sit down on the side, and we're like 3 feet from the stage at the Roman Opera.
The guys are here.
Wearing a pair of shorts and a T-shirt.
That's amazing. Oh my God.
Yeah, it was great. And you know what? I have great admiration for that. I don't know what's going on or anything. They had a guy that looked like Marlon Brando come out at the end, and he must have been the big senior guy. And the other guy that was like the lead singer there, the lead opera guy, what was obviously he had done something with a woman that put him in disgrace. Imagine that, guys.
I was going to say shocking.
It's a position I'm so familiar with that I started singing along with the guy. Oh, please help me.
You can understand him even though it was in Italian.
This woman is nuts.
Felt his pain.
And Mustang's looking at me like I am that guy. Like, you don't know what the fuck they're saying.
100%.
But I was like, yeah, see, that's you.
Exactly.
So I guess this guy, he kind of had like a Godfather look to him. He comes out and he just smokes this guy right into a corner. And the guy almost fell into my lap. That's how great of a seat we had.
That's great.
And that was the last thing we did when we were there, besides, pack up the next morning and go to the airport, which they're mashugging about COVID.
Yes.
And yet, if you were ever going to catch COVID, it was on that tour of the Sistine Chapel. That would have been the place.
Oh, no, yeah, when it's packed, when it's like, oh, my God, isn't that crazy? Yeah, that's like stressful.
It was like squeezing into the B train when you were leaving Shea, and the whole crowd was going, and they all tried to get in that one car, even though the car was already packed, and the doors open, and like a couple of people fall out onto the platform, and you like kind of squash your way into the train. That's what it was like before you got to see Michelangelo. Now, I did get into a jackpot there. Lubie, you'll find, me and my big mouth. I always have to make a comment, some wisecrack, right? Like I'm talking, I have to hold myself back from talking about like COVID or bombs, and weapons when I'm at the airport, even going through TSA, because it's like, hey, what if you had a bomb in your shoe?
No,
You don't
no,
want to be saying any of that stuff.
no.
And I'll say anything, anytime, and then regret it later.
Where?
So the tour guides, they all wear these little microphones, and then you're listening on some headset that has a snap, crackle, and pop effect, where kind of like this show where you can't really understand what the people are saying.
I don't think I can understand.
But you're just all nodding. Oh yeah, that's interesting. So, unfortunately, I was near the tour guide at the time when I compared Michelangelo, the works of Michelangelo, to those of Earl Scheib. And that was right after the, security guy had just screamed as you get into the Sistine Chapel, "Silencio!"
Yeah.
And there I am talking about Earl Scheib in the same breath as Michelangelo, as if they were artists of equivalent talent. Because look, Scheib made a lot of money too.
Probably made more than Michelangelo.
How is it, though, that they didn't take the body of Michelangelo and permanently study this guy? I mean, the most remarkable thing with all the paintings and the chapels and all of the stuff that this guy did architecturally, and of course, the David thing is big, right? People are there, and I will say, I mean, was David Jewish? Because
yeah, they gave him like.
The big thing is, like, they're showing the guys,
they're all naked. You see the thing, yeah.
But the guy's hands are gigantic.
Yep.
And so are his feet. And it's like Michelangelo. Was this like some kind of spoof you were doing on the Jews? I mean, what was
the Jews?
Wasn't he Jewish, David? No?
I don't think it was David Solomon. David Schwartzman.
David Meyerowitz. Anyway, that was interesting. But I'm not really a statue art kind of guy. As you can tell, I mean, even the fact that Earl Scheib occurred to me while I was touring the Sistine Chapel.
This seems pretty impressive. I wasn't thinking about Scheib.
Shows you what kind of clown I am.
Even
they both used paint, right? They both splashed a lot of paint around.
There you go.
Scheib at, what was it, 1995 originally? Anybody out there old enough to have had a car painted by Earl Scheib at 1995, which I can say my family did. We had a 56 Chevrolet, and the paint had kind of faded, and my dad had it painted just a hideous, ugly brown by Earl Scheib at 1995. I think the paint job lasted. I mean, it wasn't like he was using watercolors. That was Johnny and Mac by the railroad track. That was, the Earl Scheib of South Miami or South Florida when I first moved here. And the virtues of that place extolled beautifully and very eloquently by the great late sportscaster Ron Harrison. Anyway, a lot of fun. Great to be back. 6-hour time differential, 10 and a hook on a plane. And then after we got to Miami, of course, there's a little bit of a problem at the gate. So you're sitting there after 10 and a half hours for another half hour while they pull into the gate there. Customs seems to let everybody blow by, right? I mean, if I had a couple of kilos in the suitcase, I don't know that they would have noticed it, because they had one lady with a suitcase sniffing dog as the bags were coming off the conveyor belt there, or going onto the conveyor belt, and, they fly down on the chute. So she stops to check out one bag, I guess, to see if a guy had an orange in there. In the meantime, you could have shipped in like 20 kilos. No wonder El Chapo was able to get all those drugs into the country here. So, it turned out great. So, great trip all the way around. I recommend it wholeheartedly to anybody. And it's great to be back here with you guys. I wasn't able to follow the sports world so closely, but have done my best to catch up. So we're ready to go. And Brett Tessler, the agent to the stars, is going to join us here shortly. Some news there, as Aaron Donald, I guess, decides to come back because they offered him Phil Mickelson type of money from the Rams. I don't know what that's going to do to the Rams payroll over the next several years. I would imagine a little bit of it doesn't seem to matter to the Rams, does it?
No, they're just paying it forward. Eventually it'll catch up like you did with the Niners in the 90s. Right now they're just living for today.
Yeah, not a bad philosophy, especially since tomorrow is no guarantee. All right, we're coming back with more. I'm Jeff Deforrest. He's Mike Lubitz, the Defo Show. Glad you guys are joining us here. Ion Channel, various other platforms, and always a lot of fun to be with you. Good to be, in the United States, U.S. soil. Went out to dinner last night. We have a great food scene here in the good old USA, and the difference is, where in Italy, I mean, essentially every restaurant is serving Italian food.
Yes.
In the U.S., you can go down any street like I did yesterday, Commercial Boulevard, and make one of 100 choices, which Mike Mayo will embellish every day. And especially now that you're streaming the show there, the Mike Mayo's Lunchbox. And I believe today from a new location, which I'm anxious to get to, although you say it's prohibitive from a technical standpoint, Mike Lubitz. You just want to eat more.
No, you can. We want you there. It's always prohibitive. Hello, welcome.
A lot of stuff I want to try in this place. It's Greek.
Come out. It sounds amazing.
Sounds good. Yeah,
Toast.
I got the thumbs up from David Portnoy, which all we have to do is all Mike Mayo. We just have to draft in and sign places that Portnoy has visited and given even the slightest bit of praise to.
And then it's on us.
You talk about an influencer, man. That's Portnoy of Barstool Sports. All right, degeneracy again. Begins tonight as you have the Rangers game against the Lightning. I don't know what you think about that one. I don't know why. I'm assuming the Lightning will tie it up at 2 apiece. The Rangers had them on the hook. And when you have the champion down, you have to apply the final blow. You have to go for the jugular. They blow it late. And now that series is 2-1 with the fourth game tonight, pivotal fourth game taking place in Tampa. So the Rangers up against it and may find themselves in a 2-2 hole. Otherwise, wow. I mean, if they win one of the two, what does it matter that they choked in? I don't know if they choked because they were outshot badly. This Shesterkin or whatever his name is.
Yeah, the Lightning played well.
How far away are the Panthers, though? I mean, think about that. That's
look at the Avalanche. Fucking Avalanche sweep the Oilers.
Yeah. I mean, they're doing it in first-class style there, and the Panthers were the best team in hockey. Bit of an illusion there that regular season, Lubie. Keep that in mind the next time you get all excited about one of your teams. All right. We're coming back with more. Brett Tessler, the agent of the Stars, and he is just on top of the game when it comes to the National Football League, and brought to you by Will and Trust attorney Mr. Michael D. Wild. And we'll have that for you in just a moment here on the Defo Show. I want to tell you about Hialeah Park. Great people there. I mean, just amazing. Can't wait to get back down there. The Belmont Stakes is going on Saturday. Special arrangements can be made. And they will accommodate you in a style that goes far beyond that highfalutin, snooty-pooty casino we were in Venice, Italy, where, you're going to feel like you're part of the game there when you go to Hialeah Park. That's the way they set this thing up. And if you want a little bit of privacy, you can have that too. Gurgles, bit of a loner, Gurgles, when it comes to these situations. He's either partying like a madman or doesn't want to talk to anybody.
Exactly.
That's kind of all of us when we're at the racetrack, right? I mean, you could be with your best friend and ask him, hey, who do you like in the fourth? He says, hey, can't you see I'm handicapping? But however you want to behave, as long as it's within reason, Hialeah Park is the place to go for the Belmont Stakes coming up on Saturday. Casino is cranking. That is a great place. And now this casino, we only played like Mustang played the slot. She's been on fire. Out the door, 200 euros, whoosh, right out the door. She was back with me. I was just poaching some of the free food in there because I acted like I was a big shot and rolled into like some free buffet. So I'm just poaching that, and I see her there, and I said, hey, would you come get something to eat? She says, no, I'm out of money.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm like, really?
That was quick.
But see, you don't understand. Like, the machines are in Italian, and you don't understand. Yeah. You think you're playing $5, and you're playing $50.
Exactly.
So it was like 4 spins. She was out the door. And then she said, what? All my money's gone? You got to be kidding me. But at you're in there with a chance to win, man. I mean, those bells are ringing and the sirens are going off. They have all that stuff going on with the Royal Reels, which seems to pay sensational jackpots. Those machines are all over the place, and you can find all your favorite Vegas-style games at Hialeah Park. It's just a beautiful place to go. All right, coming back with Brett Tessler, the agent of the Stars, in just a moment here on the Defo Show. Now that.
The time.
Mention of Shine, I think, is bordering on criminal charges. So 7:33.
Tony Segreto here. Let me ask you a question. What do you look for when you go out to eat? Good food, obviously, friendly atmosphere, not too loud, but good energy, reasonable prices, and a place where you feel comfortable. You're talking about the Texas Roadhouse. Good for a family, good for a date, or just a night out for yourself, and prices that will make you extremely happy. Their ribs unmatched. Steaks hand-cut every day. Everything, and I mean everything, is made on site, including their incredible bread. Trust me when I tell you, Texas Roadhouse, your restaurant, your destination when you say, where should we go and eat tonight?
From the newly renovated sports bar to the beautiful bayside views captured at the Tiki Bar, Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill has it all. Located at mile marker 104, the Big Chill also offers waterfront dining while experiencing breathtaking sunset views of the Florida Keys. It's simply the hottest spot in the Keys to cool off. That's Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill at mile marker 104 in Key Largo. For more information, call today at 305-453-9066.
Any time of year, things can happen to your home or business, and the insurance company can be your friend, but they also can be your enemy. Horizon Public Adjusters, Justina Testa, are here for you to help this process go so much easier. 7 to 10 times more money recovered with a public adjuster than if you went on your own. If there's no recovery, there's no fee. Before you call your insurance company, call Horizon Public Adjusters and Justina Testa at 954-809-8752.
The simple pleasures of this job, the way a stadium sounds when one of my players performs well on the field, the way we are meant to protect them in health and in injury. Less money, more attention, caring for them, caring for ourselves in the games too.
The agent to the stars, the one and only Brett Tessler.
Welcome back to the Defo Show. Good to be back with you here on U.S. soil and on the air, Ion Channel, and all of our other platforms. Mike Lubitz is the other guy here, and I am Jeff Deforrest, and we always love welcoming to the show one of our favorites, been with us for a long, long time. Great insight into the National Football League and all other matters of life for that matter, if you will. The great Brett Tessler, the agent to the stars, joins us here on the program, brought to you by Will and Trust attorney, Mr. Michael D. Wild. Brett, how are you this week? Good to talk to you, my friend.
Doing awesome. It's good to be with you guys.
It's good to have you on the show. All right, I guess the big news on the crawl there last night regarding the NFL was the re-upping and restructuring of the contract of Aaron Donald and the Los Angeles Rams, who, were probably hoping he would come back. I don't know. Donald was talking about retirement. When that happens with a player, in your experience, and you've had some older guys, Remmers was one of these guys that maybe could have, gotten out of the game. He ended up with Kansas City in a good spot. But when a guy is already on the borderline of maybe thinking he's going to hang it up, does he have 3 more years left in him, in your opinion? Or is that even reflected in the meaning of what this contract is all about? Are they just looking for Donald to be around for another year or so?
Well, first of all, this is something that had to be done for many reasons. Number one, Aaron Donald may well be the best player in the NFL, and you can't have the best player in the NFL with a very mediocre contract by the standards of even his position, let alone overall. And so an adjustment was very much in order there. And if there's any player that has the leverage and has the upper hand in a situation like this, it is Aaron Donald. They don't win that Super Bowl last year without him, plain and simple. And they're not winning a Super Bowl this year without him, plain and simple. And so with that being said, they did what they needed to do. Thankfully, it was a situation that never really got out of hand like some of these situations can. And unfortunately, like I've been involved in throughout the years at different points. But I think Aaron Donald handled himself well. He was very passive aggressive in his approach in terms of talking about if, I do decide to retire, my career has been a success, whatever. So that's just sending the message to the Rams, just kind of telling them what they know, which is, hey, you got to do the right thing, because for that guy at this point to go out there with the money that he's already earned and continue to play and help that team win a Super Bowl again, maybe, and put his neck on the line every play, they had to do the right thing, and thankfully they did.
They win a Super Bowl, and obviously, as people would say using the poker terminology, Brett Tessler, they were all in on this, or seemed to be. Now they're having to ante up even more capital to keep some of the core of their team together, including Aaron Donald. Lubie made the comparison. I guess it's the classic example of being all in and then suffering the consequences for years in the aftermath of the San Francisco 49ers, when they had assembled that dynasty under Bill Walsh, and then kind of fell off the charts there for a while after. Is that what you foresee, and the people around the league foresee for the Rams? Is this a dangerous position to put yourself in?
First of all, nobody remembers who finished second, a few years down the road. The only thing that matters for a fan base, for, players on the team, for an organization is winning a Super Bowl. And I would rather win one Super Bowl amongst 9 crappy seasons than, be a team that makes the playoffs 10 years in a row and, always gets bounced in the first round, second round, sort of like what the Vikings went through, sort of like what the Niners have been like over the last few years, sort of like what the Seahawks would have been if they didn't get that one. And so the most important thing is winning a Super Bowl. And in this salary cap era, success is not meant to be sustained. The salary cap is meant to try to keep things even. When a team is really low, it's intended, in terms of with the high draft picks that those teams get and the salary cap space that, usually bad teams do have because they're not paying too many great players. It's one of those deals where bad teams are meant to have a chance to improve, and great teams are sort of meant to be knocked down a peg or two to try to keep balance and to try to keep parity. But, rare examples like New England, I mean, you just have no idea how absolutely impossible it was to do what they did as long as they did it. I mean, a 20-year run like that, obviously it's because you had the greatest quarterback ever, working with the greatest head coach ever, and then you sprinkle in maybe the greatest tight end ever and some of the other great players on that team. And it's truly a miracle that they did what they did, because in any era of football, that length of sustained success is highly unusual. But to do it in the salary cap era, and this isn't like the early days of the salary cap in the early 90s where people didn't understand it. Even people in front offices were trying to figure it out. I mean, these cap guys are as smart as ever. They know how to work it. They know how to, move things around and, make tough decisions and do what you need to do. It's harder than ever. And so again, I just don't think we'll ever see anything like that again in terms of that sustained level of success that New England's had.
Right. Piggybacking off of that, it's funny. Quinn Snyder, who was actually very successful with the Jazz, but he openly admitted he felt like his message had sort of fallen on deaf ears both ways. Like it wasn't getting better for him, it wasn't getting better for the team. And it's funny how you said that, because even when we had dynasties, you had the Dolphins 70s, you had the Raiders and Steelers 70s, 80s different was the Niners and the Giants, and then the 90s was, the Cowboys. Like it seems to be you get 10 years and then it sort of moves on. Is that what you find when you talk to your clients? Like the coach is great for like 4 or 5 years, and then by the time you get to year 6 and 7, it's like, okay, we need something new. Like I always found it interesting when they talk about the messages falling deaf ears, when it's like, if it's a good message, it's a good message. But you seem to find this across sports where at some point you need a new voice. I'm just curious, like when you talk to your players, do they say things like that? Like, is that something that they can tell, they can feel?
Yes, absolutely. I talk all the time with my guys about their coaches and what the temperature is in the locker room as it relates to, are people buying in? Is he somebody who is taken serious? Is he somebody who all the players basically laugh at, behind his back? So no, I mean, and obviously, that all plays a big part in it, and different styles and different approaches have different results. And so there's some guys who are known to be great short-term boosts to organizations. Like, for example, in hockey, guys like Mike Keenan, a guy like John Tortorella in this generation, guys who are very intense, guys who definitely are not for everybody, but guys who you have to admit are fantastic coaches. It's just their shelf life is going to be a lot shorter than certain other guys. And that's the reason why Belichick's been as successful as he has, because people, mistake him as the guy that you see during press conferences. That's really not what he's like. He's actually a guy who treats players like adults, lets them be who they are. He never had a problem with Rob Gronkowski. Rob Gronkowski, one of the most free-spirited players of ever. He let Gronk be Gronk as long as Gronk showed up every day for work and, was professional and was prepared. And as long as you do what you're supposed to do, you'll have no problems with Bill Belichick.
A remarkable run, as you said, Brett Tessler, especially in light of the circumstances, the parameters that teams have to operate within and underneath to, and be in compliance of in the National Football League. And it occurred to me it's a lot easier to sustain mediocrity for that period of time, as we've witnessed here in town. And I couldn't help but think that maybe you had a little vision of Joe Philbin in your eye when you were talking about the players behind the coach's back actually mocking the guy and laughing at him. Even though,
no,
yes.
no. I don't think anybody laughed behind Joe Philbin's back. I think they laughed right to his face because
they did. They really did.
Because the reality is, and that's obviously been a big part of the problem the Dolphins have had. The likes of Cam Camerons, the likes of Joe Philbin, Tony Sperano, God rest his soul, amazing line coach, one of the best ever. But let's just say it was not a string of, not a string of inspiring coaches here for many, many years. So the fact, again, that, the Flores hire, regardless how it turned out in the end, at least there was something about this guy that I felt had to be taken serious. And in the case of Mike McDaniel, this guy is just completely unlike anything or anyone this league's ever seen in this position. But again, his style may be absolutely what this team needs, coming off someone like Flores, who obviously that's another example of a guy who really rubbed a lot of people wrong. So good coach, smart guy, not very sensible as it relates to, interpersonal relationships and things that are more important in today's NFL than they were back in the days of Chuck Noll and Don Shula, guys that were taskmasters. You can't really drop the hammer these days on these guys the way you used to. So I can't wait to see how the Mike McDaniel experiment ends up working.
So George Allen really wouldn't fly in today's National Football League. You would have to think it would be a bit of a struggle for him. One quick thought on this. I thought of you when I was doing one of my walks of life in Europe, and I thought, well, I'm going to be coming back and talking to Brett Tessler, the agent of the stars, what's going on in the NFL. Do you believe there really is any kind of pulse to the movement to remove Dan Snyder from his ownership position with the Washington Commanders, which that pot was stirred once again, as if the owners might be gathering, enough sentiment in that direction to actually make that move? Do you see that happening at all, Brett Tessler?
I think it's a real slippery slope. And, in Carolina, you saw it happen with their owner years ago. But, that guy was a much older guy who was probably getting toward the end anyway. And, it's not a precedent that I think owners want to set, because tomorrow it might be you. There's plenty of different things that different people have in their past and things that can always come back to haunt you. And once you make it easy to just simply vote a guy out, as soon as, the majority decides, hey, we don't like this guy, or, this guy did this or this guy did that, then again, it could be you that they're turning their fangs toward the next day. So I think that it's something that I think the league and ownership needs to tread very, very carefully as far as how they deal with everything going on in Washington.
What was he laundering the fans' ticket money? I mean, Craig Carton had nothing on this guy, Dan Snyder. All right, Michael D. Wild, you want to straighten out your financial situation and make sure that it's etched in stone, much like the ancient Romans did. You can do that courtesy of the services of one Michael D. Wild, Brett Tessler.
It's really true, Deef. And, with him, there's never any controversy. There's never any doubt, because when you reach out to Michael Wild at SouthFloridaWills.com, you're getting the very best. The guy's got a ton of experience, done amazing work for thousands and thousands of people down here in South Florida throughout the years. And, he's a guy that's very accessible, makes the process very quick, painless, affordable, and most importantly, it gets done properly so you and your family have total peace of mind moving forward. Reach out to Michael Wild at SouthFloridaWills.com.
All right, great stuff today, Brett Tessler. A pleasure having you on the show, and great being back with you here in the good old US of A. We'll talk to you again next week. Have a great week, and we'll look forward to talking to you then. Thanks so much for being with us.
And very quickly, guys, need to wish a happy birthday to my son Brandon. Going to be 13 tomorrow. So happy birthday, Brando. We love you, pal.
A fine young man, too, as are both of your children and the lovely Lonnie. Brett Tessler, the agent of the stars. Man, he was on his game today, was he not?
Yes,
Mike Lubie Lubitz, that was very, very interesting, the whole spectrum of things that we covered there. And, I don't know that I buy it. I don't know what the deal is. I think, is it 60% of the owners have to vote? Is this kind of like one of those Senate deals about banning assault rifles? Where even though the majority of the people, like 90% of the people, are in favor of it, somehow these schmenks can't get that through their heads.
Exactly.
How about a move, huh? Unbelievable.
Well, that was the other thing. And of course, I started off yesterday's show in a fashion I never thought I would start on Monday. But over the weekend, there was 10. like 10 mass shootings. Like, it's just become laughable.
No, it's insane. It really is. It's beyond insane. And the fact that we're still in the same place we were, going back to whatever the first one was.
Columbine. Columbine. When I was in high school,
Just insane. Insane. And these people with these justifications and rationalizations, it's like, hello? Or maybe that's why, I don't know. I don't think American society is laughed at by the Italians. I think they have, a dose of respect there. Now, maybe the French, c'est la vie. That might have been a whole different story. If were you in France also?
Yes, I went to Paris.
So there, you were an ugly American?
No, look, I'm not going to lie. They didn't embrace us like the Greek did. The Greek love Americans. But they didn't hate us. They just are sort of more laissez-faire about things, but they weren't mean. Like we were treated fine. I mean, the way we were treated in Italy was very similar in France, and they even speak more English. Like, Italy was amazing. The only problem is they understand English decent, but you can't really have a conversation. Like Greek, they all speak English. Like the English is freaking amazing in Greece.
That makes some sense. We ran into people. That's part of the fun of traveling, and I'm glad that I got to do this and get over to Europe for the first time. Because you know me, I mean, my game, I don't necessarily need to take the tour of the city. I just like to sit down in a place and get to know people.
Yes,
and there were people from obviously all over the world there, and other European countries. We ran into. Wanted to say a special hello. They might be tuned in today. Ron and Tracy from Ireland. And they admitted, too, that, the weather there really is, I mean, as if it was the opening scene in Great Expectations, right? Just rank and dour and sour and cold. And that's why everybody looks so pasty to these people happen to look fine. Tracy was particularly interested in, and I apologize for, because once I confuse a name, it's a blur to me now at this point. I believe her last name was Wilcots, the reporter that we have from Court TV on After Hours.
Yes.
Wilcots. And what was her first name? That's what I can't remember.
Wasn't it Amy? I feel like it was Amy.
Might have been Amy Wilcots. I'd be thinking Amy Walcott at that point, yet she gave, it was a great conversation we had. I really enjoyed it, and I think she did too, which is always my measurement.
Judge Ashley Wilcott.
Okay, I wasn't that far off then.
You were close, and good job by you.
Well, it turns out we're talking to these two people from Ireland. Our first night in Rome, we're just sitting at a bar there relaxing after schlepping around the city for a little while, and woman, Tracy, was fascinated by this whole Johnny Depp thing. Right. So I said, well, you're familiar with so-and-so here. And remember, I had you send me the clip.
Yeah, I made fun of you. That was the first time we talked. People kept asking, have you talked to Defo? I'm like, yes. He called me asking for a link to the show.
I'm trying to sell us in Ireland, man. I
like,
think we could be big there. Those guys were wildly entertained by what we had to say. And vice versa. But that's like the fascinating part, of being in that type of travel. It's kind of like Vegas to an extent of 20.
Yes,
because and the people, a lot of people from Germany and other parts of the world. Ireland, I guess, is a pretty short pop there.
Yeah,
and they tend to spend a lot of time just hanging out in Italy in various places.
Nice. I would.
So,
it's amazing.
No, it was a good spot. I could have enjoyed more time there, but I think if I venture back, Venice and the Amalfi Coast, and that's all I need.
See, what we want to do is treat it like, it's funny you compared it to California because there's so many places there, like Naples I haven't been to. I haven't been to Venice. I haven't been to Amalfi Coast. In the north, there's a place called Lake Como that Shirley wants to go to desperately. So what we want to do is rent a car And you said it's.
Oh no, you should not drive there.
I know. I'm scared to death. I'm scared to death.
Not drive there.
But drive the whole country.
And I mean, Magellan couldn't find his way around this country, man. I'm telling you. I was thinking, no wonder Columbus left. I mean, even with a map of the city, there's no way. And then they have these kind of obtuse methods of entering and exiting highways, like major roadways, where everybody, it's not. I didn't see an overwhelming amount of speed there, but you could see why the Fittipaldis and the Andrettis were very good at that type of Grand Prix racing, because it's one giant Grand Prix race with a lot of scooters mixed in between. And the people don't care. Like they'll just walk right in front of cars and then flip the guy off. Basta fango. Did I say pasta fango?
I don't know, but
no, I think
exactly
I had that for dinner
happens.
the second night in Florence. No, but people just walk in front of cars. They don't care, and the cars don't care either. They just keep going. I mean, and yet, this was the beauty of it. I didn't see a single accident scene.
Nope.
And none of the cars, no matter how flimsy they are, I mean, we're talking about, I mean, this is beyond the smart car. This is like a genius car where, like, one guy doesn't even fit into the car comfortably. Your head is through the roof, and you have to have the little sunroof there, and you're driving like that. And you're barely in a car. It's like a Flintstones car, except that instead of having to, run with the Flintstones feet, you have a little bit of an engine, I guess, to make the thing go. But not one dent in any automobile. Either they have the best mechanics when it comes to this sort of stuff in the world by far, and then on top of that, I mean, where are we at with this, Lubie? $4.75 a gallon now here in the States.
Oh yeah, about. I mean, not west,
$195, $189 in some places.
No, that's liters. It's actually more money.
Oh, liters. Oh, okay.
It's 3 liters to a week. Shirley and I did the math. It's 3 liters to a gallon. It's like worse.
Oh, so they're getting robbed. What are you talking about?
It's
Here
bad.
I was complimenting them on managing the economy so well. I was thinking, hey, who's the president of this place, man? I want him to replace Joe Biden right now.
Yeah, no, it's more money. We did the math when we were in Greece. Yeah, we were like, they're like, yeah, it's insane. We're like, really? And then we looked it up. It's like either 3 or 4 liters to a gallon. Like it's ludicrous. It's insane.
They really slaughtered each other there, though. I mean, all of the history leads back to like they were skinning people alive and they were hacking off their wrists if they lied.
Yep.
And they talk about this as if, it's a solid foundation for what's going on there today. I don't know. People seem pretty nice to me. All right, we're coming back with more. We'll get into the sporting world. One of the things that I was able to catch, which there wasn't much, nothing was working. You had some kind of hybrid version of CNN International.
Yes.
In the first couple of places, but it wasn't really CNN, right?
Nope.
I mean, it was like the same news over and over again for every half hour to the point where you were ready to blow your brains out. That was in English. And then they had the BBC, which I'm a CNN viewer. I do watch my share of CNN. But, the BBC was like a poor second. I thought, in terms of the way they presented the news. Maybe people would disagree with me on that. Then you had that Bloomberg thing, which I don't understand at all. That was in English. And then finally, I found Eurosport when I was in Rome. So I was able to catch a little bit of the French Open, action, including a great run by, Coco Gauff. It's a shame.
Valiant effort.
Our good friend Harvey kind of depicted it well, though. Harvey Fialkov, who is obviously an outstanding observer of tennis and, has a writer's flair when it comes to his social media posts about it. But it was true. And you were afraid this would happen to Coco Gauff. As brilliantly as she played leading up to that match for the final against Swiatek, who is...
She's won 35 in a row.
35 in a row. The woman is a veritable machine.
A machine, yeah.
She is one person, though, and it happened. I was surprised that Jim Furyk was like bald when he took his cap off. Remember the first time you saw like Jim Furyk?
Yep.
And the guy with a hat, looks relatively youthful, and then all of a sudden he takes the hat off and he's bald as an eagle, and you're like, wow, what happened to this guy? And it looks a little strange because he has kind of a, unusually configured nose. Would you say, Jim Furyk, distinctive nose?
His nose is weird, yeah.
Not Jimmy Durante or Carl Malden or anything like that, but it's up there in terms of sports noses.
Yep. Yeah. Yes.
And the Swiatek, when she takes her hat off, now she looks completely different, does she not, Lubie? Have you seen her?
I haven't seen her without the hat. No. I have to. Now you make me want to go check that out.
But she's great, and she's not
She's a
really
monster.
like an opposing figure like Serena was in terms of being able to dominate all these other women. And people would say, okay, you can only play the teams that are on your schedule, Lubie.
Yes, that's very
Have
true.
you heard that? I mean,
My whole life.
Ashley Barty, who was the number one player in the world before Swiatek came, just absolutely careening out of nowhere. Not really out of nowhere. She won the French Open last year, but I've seen a lot of her play this year because I've been watching the various tournaments on 4 a.m. here on Tennis Channel. And wow, I mean, she's just sweeping aside all competition. And there are a lot of women on the tour now that are comparable. Now that Serena's kind of faded out of it altogether, and you don't have that one big heavyweight, at the top of the charts there. I don't know that Barney was that, but the Swiatek, what she's done, should not be unrecognized.
That's amazing.
So Coco froze. I mean, Harvey called it cement feet. Said she had cement feet, and then all of a sudden you could see the nerves, in the first set, and she gets smoked in the first set, and then loses the second set, and that was it, man. But and then lost in the doubles also in the finals.
Yes.
But then you start thinking she's 18.
Yes.
She was
She's young.
only 18, right?
Yes.
I mean, so this is a hell of an accomplishment for
it's
a
crazy.
local talent. Oh wow. Couldn't help but admire what she did. Felt badly for her because, you don't like to see the person. We'll have Tony when it's tomorrow. I mean, how many times will he rightfully be able to make the allusion to being in the moment?
Oh, God, that'll be the whole segment.
I'll just say Tony Coco Gauff. And then he'll,
she wasn't ready for the moment.
It'll be like when James Lipton would say, you're rolling Papillon. To Steve McQueen. And the whole audience goes, yeah.
Erupts.
Fucking great movie. All right, we're coming back with more. And there's a lot to dissect here. You have Boston going against Golden State.
Yes.
And they have a pivotal game 3 tonight. How pivotal is this one? This might be the greatest pivoting thing that you've ever seen in your lifetime.
Pivotal.
Linda Blair's head in The Exorcist wasn't pivoting like this. This is Anthony Davis changing pivot feet.
Exactly.
Maybe the Greek.
It's like the freak. Yeah.
Is he on a pogo stick? Or is he just allowed to do whatever the hell he wants in there?
That's what it seems like.
Budenholzer's guy, too, ends up getting the Lakers job. Did you catch that?
Darvin Ham. There you go.
Darvin Ham,
NBA player.
And he's thinking about bringing Rasheed on board.
He'd already hired Rasheed. That was a big deal yesterday.
Rasheed Wallace, yeah.
Rasheed Wallace.
Now, is Rasheed going to be on some kind of Udonis Haslam type of deal?
No, he's not playing. He's an assistant coach. They hired him to be an assistant coach.
No, I understand. I mean, he's been out of basketball for like 20 years, but people thought he had passed when they buried John Daly. I mean, they didn't know about Rasheed Wallace, but he's very much alive. But wouldn't that be the thing to do is to make him a player coach?
Yeah.
And then if stuff gets out of hand, somebody's trying to rough up LeBron.
Go tackle people.
LeBron doesn't want to get in a fight. LeBron is Gretzky out there.
Pretty much, yes.
Yeah, I mean, some goon comes skating in there, and that could be Rasheed Wallace. That'd be great. All right, what do you think about tonight's game, Lubie, before we head for this next...
I feel like the Warriors keep it going. I think they finally figured it out a little bit where they didn't let down the fourth quarter, and I think they keep it going. The Celtics have proven if you give them an inch, they'll take a mile. So I think the Warriors will take advantage of that, and I think they'll go up 2-1.
You can anticipate Blowout City was coming in that third quarter the other night. I actually fell asleep at the very beginning of what turned out to be the annihilating run that the Golden State Warriors went on. I mean, outscoring the opposition, I think, by the widest margin in a single quarter in playoff history.
It was plus 21. I mean, they're plus 35 in both their quarters combined.
Pretty amazing. All right, I don't know. I think the Celtics toughen up tonight and make it a little bit more difficult.
Be annoying.
On the Golden State Warriors. I'm going to say Celtics, and they are favored in this game by, I think, 3 and a hook, which tells you something, huh?
Yeah.
Not much. Only that fools will be betting on both sides,
been all in on
and
it.
half of them will be losing.
Exactly.
The other half will think they're geniuses like we do whenever we're right about something. All right, many things to discuss here in the next hour of the program, so stick with us here. Was this legit? This is the commentary? Should I allude to this at all, Lubie? This one comment we got on our comment line from some guy. I don't know what countries.
Yeah, I don't know. It was like the people in.
Oh, Spain.
It was like what is it? Was it Africa? What is the one where you used to get the emails and it was like
Nigeria. Yeah,
Nigeria.
Your uncle died and left you
almost
$10 million, and
almost
we can send it
responded.
to you if you send us 10 dimes right now.
I was responding like, you reached the wrong people.
This is the commentary we get. I come back from
I've
almost
never
2
gotten
weeks
this.
away from the show here. Hello, my name is, we'll leave that blank, from Spain, but I currently live in France. All right. I suffer from a disease that condemns me to death. We all do. Oh, in this case, though, he's got throat cancer.
There you go.
I have 150,000 euro in my Societe Generale Bank account, and I would like to donate it to an honest, serious, and trustworthy person. That's
so sweet.
Lubie.
Yeah, that's sweet.
He's got like the equivalent of about 170 dimes here, 160 anyway.
Yep.
I have been a widower for 10 years with no children. I went through all the specialist doctors without a solution to my illness. If you are interested in donation, here is my email. So all you have to do is wire this guy who's about to check out from throat cancer. He's got 170 large in the bank, and he wants to give it to you.
Mm-hmm.
And now, what would the scam be there if you email this guy? What happens to you?
They're going to respond to what they need from you. You're going to now be incessantly barraged by emails with them asking you for different things.
But for the $5,000 processing fee that it takes to release this 170,000 in one increment, man. We're not talking about payments over a period of time here. We're not talking Tom Selleck City here, reverse mortgage. Or you can choose to pay it all back when you decide to leave your home. Thanks.
Exactly.
But it's sincerity. Right? You're thinking, I used to like this guy, right? Now you're thinking, I don't want to say it. Anyway, that's on our fan mail, on our communication list today here, including like a couple of welcome backs.
I don't know what you brought back with you, but I've never got one of those yet here, so that's fun.
It's an interesting concept, man. He wants to give you his money that he has in the bank.
Definitely, I'm sure.
This poor, starving,
cancer survivor, yeah. Okay.
Legit? What do you think?
No, obviously, I didn't respond to it.
No, I don't think you need to answer that.
I was like,
a rhetorical question there.
I was gonna say to the person, really?
Adam Gase was more legit than that.
Exactly.
Offer of generosity by this poor dying man. All right, it reminded me of the gypsies in Italy, and they're, I guess, more prevalent in Rome. The gypsies, where and they're irrepressible. I mean, you talk about just relentless. They will get in your face. So this was kind of cool, right? So we had a gypsy approach us in Venice, and even though I have a very sympathetic, like charitable mind for people that I think are legit, like there was a guy I couldn't resist giving him a couple of those and the euros. You don't realize what they are because the ones and the twos are about the same, aren't they?
Well, it's like a coin, so you think it's like a penny, and it's actually full dollars.
Right. I think I gave this poor bum $9
It's fine.
without realizing it. But I mean, he was. I mean, you couldn't help but have sympathy or empathy for this man. I mean, you're thinking, for Christ's sake, somebody give this guy a couple of bucks, because if he's faking that, he should be replacing Johnny Depp in any of those pirate movies. Now that Depp's on the shit list. All right. Although he won.
He's not anymore. Yeah, you missed it. He supposedly is a hero now.
Free pass. Yeah. It was her. It was Barzini all along. It was Amber Heard. But with the gypsies. So we get approached by a gypsy, and she's relentless, man. And she's talking about her poor children are starving, and she's got a picture of the two kids. All right.
Nice.
So, and we're thinking, wow, look at those two poor starving kids, man. Maybe I ought to give this woman a couple of bucks. And then you realize, nah, it's a whole gypsy scam.
Yeah, it's a scam. Yeah.
Right. She's getting picked up by a Mercedes, limousine, and going back off to Gypsy World or wherever she's from.
Gypsy World. It's an amusement park.
Where do they live, man? You never see them on the streets at night.
I don't know. I stayed away from him. Shirley was like freaking out. Shirley's like, watch your wallet. So I had to keep my hands in my pocket.
No, that's true. Yeah.
In the middle of Rome, the Trevi Fountain. Like, she was weird about it. Like
Rome pickpockets. But the irony would be, to have your pocket picked in the Miami airport once you got back from Rome, after worrying about it and being self-conscious about it the entire time. Because I didn't bring my wallet with me.
Good for you.
The entire time, because that's all anybody talked about there was watch out for pickpockets, especially if you take the subway.
Yep.
Which then some other guy who probably was in cahoots with the pickpockets that worked at one of the restaurants tells us, "Oh no, that's my safest way of travel."
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so this gypsy woman shows us a picture of the two children, and then we move on to Florence, and we move on to Rome, and we're approached now by another irrepressible and just, I mean, relentlessly pursuing a gypsy woman who is moving closer and closer, and then she whips out a picture of her two kids who are starving, and it's the same two kids. There's a standard gypsy starving kid photo issue. And I actually gave her a couple of bucks there because I said,
that was a great move.
That's really good.
That's a great
That
move.
is really, really good.
It's one network.
I mean, people give money to Joel Osteen, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Solid foundation of, actual believability than that. It was great. All right, we're coming back with more. Right, we'll get into all of this stuff. Warriors, Celtics. You say Warriors, I say Celtics.
There you go.
I don't know about. Did they blow them out? No, I'm not sure. The Celtics.
I don't think it's a blowout.
Golden State Warriors.
I don't think it's a blowout either way. I just feel like the Warriors know if they get down.
All right. And then the Rangers, another pivotal game. Wow, I am so rooting for Gerard Gallant. And I would think that Mike Mayo, the gambling gourmet.
Oh, no, he's all in. He was actually hurt yesterday. Like, after that defeat where they had a tie with like under a minute left.
Zip. Yeah, they're up 2-0 in the game. And you thought, wow, this is it. I saw a few posts. My only way of really staying in touch with the sporting world essentially was Facebook. Yeah. Yep. So you're living in, kind of getting an impression of what's going on, through the various, diehard Ranger fans, of which I would say there's, there were probably a half a dozen maybe before. But now there's like, of my close to 5,000 friends, 4,990
exactly.
Ranger fans.
Exactly.
They're all chanting, Jerry, as if it was the Springer Show. Fantastic. So anyway, I got the impression. I mean, up to nothing. I mean, there was just joy. You had, all of these people that had suffered for years with the Rangers until they finally cleared the hurdle in '94. And think about that, Lubie. That was a long time ago.
I remember. Yeah, even now that's a long time ago again.
It's another 26-year streak of futility with no anticipation. The Rangers would be in a commanding position against the Tampa Bay Lightning to face what seems to be, a very unfortunate fate in the end game, because the Avalanche, the team that was great all year long,
kept being great.
Looks like it's prevailing, doesn't it?
Yep. They did what we thought the Panthers would do, where they just turned it on to another level.
Edmonton, now that I'm a hockey expert, but Edmonton, I watched some of their series, the previous series against the Blues. And, wow, I mean, they were very impressive.
McDavid's considered the best player in hockey right now.
Yeah. High-scoring team, but unfortunately, I mean, they suffer from that sieve-like syndrome there in the pipes there. Their goalie sucks.
Yeah.
Sucks, man. I mean, pucks were flying by this guy like there was no tomorrow. They were quacking by. Whack, 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 whack. Looked like a Jay Fiedler pass. It wasn't Fiedler. No, he threw a pretty good ball, Fiedler, did he not? Threw it to the wrong team enough. But
that was a problem, is he threw it to the wrong team.
Yeah. All right, we're coming back with more. So we have that, the Rangers game tonight, and also the Boston Celtics, Golden State, of which will there be more interest? Is that tomorrow or tonight?
It's tomorrow. They're doing double days off. It's really annoying.
Oh, yeah? Because
it's Wednesday. They're doing it. It was right. Sunday, Wednesday, Saturday, Tuesday. I think is how it's.
All right, that's good enough for me though, because I like to alternate the hockey game and the basketball games. Now that we're down to close to the finals in the NHL and in the NBA, we are in the final round there. 1-1 with the Boston Celtics now. Theoretically, how often do you hear this? Well, they've snatched home court advantage, which they have, right? I mean, you're talking about 3 out of 5 being played in Boston here, and
right now they have home court.
Hold home court. Wow, can they do that? Mike Lubitz in both
I don't think so.
Golden State.
I don't
Red
think
so. We'll see. Supposedly he played some stifling defense for the most part against Steph Curry. That Steph Curry, was kind of contained Well, for the first half of that ball game. Anyway, I don't know what he did in the second half. He exploded.
The first game he did great in the first quarter, and then the rest of the game Curry didn't do much. The second game he and Poole went off in the third, and then the Celtics couldn't hang.
Yeah. No, I saw them begin this run, and you could kind of see where the momentum was going in the ball game.
Yep.
It doesn't always hold up in the NBA, but after being down 1-0 at home, and I was at a place, a local restaurant, picking up some stuff. Mustang and I had just gotten back kind of from the trip there. You're a little exhausted. And on the way out the door, though, I'm talking to a Celtic fan. And for some reason, when I got to score in Europe, I thought that Boston had the home court for the first two games, and that was no big deal. They won the first game.
Yeah,
That it was, someone, it wasn't really a surprise. And you were thinking, all right, well, Golden State probably take the second game and take it back to the West Coast there in a commanding position, essentially. And then, so I had this whole conversation with a guy under the completely wrong impression that first game and the other game Sunday night, I guess it was, what was played in Boston. So, that was a big deal, right?
Yes.
And it looked like Boston might be in a position to take two of them.
Yes.
And I apologize to that gentleman whose name I didn't get there. He was very knowledgeable about basketball.
Good for him.
And I thought, wow, the old man just put on a show for this guy and probably really impressed this kid that I knew my stuff. And it was all based on a completely false premise.
Not shocking.
Half of the shit we come up with is based on a false
I was
premise.
going to say.
Let's face it. All right, we're coming back with more. Having a good time being back with you here in the good old U.S. of A. Always a pleasure. Mike Lubitz. I'm Jeff Deforrest. Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill. Wow. I could have saved myself about, I don't even want to say, double digits.
Yeah, don't worry about how long.
In terms of dimes.
Don't worry about much.
And just little ride down there, about a mile and a half, hour and a half in a car. That's costly now, but that would be the biggest expense there because Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill as a place to dine. Wow, you get the full spectrum. And that's one of the great things about dining in the U.S. of A. as compared to even the great food that's available at all over the place. Reasonable prices, outdoor cafes in Italy. But you get such a wide variety of things to try in one place here. It's not like you're relegated to if you like barbecue, this is the place to go. And Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill, everything from the freshest of seafood. Remember when the Jimmer went out there and bought that fish off the guy and then took it right to Dominic and Jimmy in the kitchen there and he made it up for somebody?
Yep. Exactly.
Did one of those jobs in the silver foil like you get when you're in Venice in some restaurant where the whole fish is there. And
Yep, the whole fish. Yep.
That looks pretty good for a whole fish. That's not really my bag. But whatever you want, freshest of seafood, all the way down to bar food. I mean, but it's not really, it's not fair to describe it that way. Because the pizzas are dynamite. I mean, they're very innovative, as good as anything that you would find in Italy, which, I don't know, Lubie, what was your opinion of Italian pizza?
It's good. It's just different. They don't really do the marinara sauce on the pizza. They do.
Yeah.
It's like cheese first and then sauce on top. It's a little different. I mean, I liked it. It's not, like Jimmy Johnson's.
Nothing like that. I mean, Dominic and Jimmy, man, he could open up a shop in Italy and he would dominate the pizza world over there, man. I mean, he would be bigger, than Domino's over there. It'd be just unbelievable. Because, I mean, the variety is incredible. And I'm with you. You know what? I mean, it was embarrassing because I asked for a little side of marinara sauce and, some extra cheese.
I ain't giving you that.
And the guy wanted to throw the pie in my face.
I was going to say, how'd that go over?
Yeah, you don't want to insult Italians when it comes to cooking. No. Telling them that you could have gone down the street at home and gotten a better meal. I mean, it's a big mistake. All right, you won't have to, be involved in, spreading, and profusing any insults at Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill because you're just going to be blown away with how great it is, and that's always a nice feeling. The nachos, that was a big thing. The professor, a big fan. His restaurant, well respected, the Foundry.
Yep.
And so here's a guy who owns a piece of one of the most successful restaurant stories that you have in South Florida. I mean, the way it's taken off, people love the Sunday brunch over there. And he said, man, this is the best stuff I've had outside of my own place. Went back there on his own.
Yes.
Right?
We weren't there. They just went. Yep.
It's great. Great atmosphere, great vibe, great people. You're going to love it. Music all day long on the weekends there. I don't know. Do they do that all week long, Lubie? I'm not sure.
I know the weekends they focus on it. The week, I'm sure they have music, but the live music's a little different.
It was like Woodstock, though. I mean,
Yeah, it's
Santana
like
gets
concert.
off the stage, and here comes, the Paul Butterfield Blues Band, ladies and gentlemen. It's absolutely amazing. No, it's a great, great place. Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill, mile marker 104, the Overseas Highway, and that is in the beautiful city of Key Largo. All right, we're coming back with more. We'll take you up until 9 o'clock here on the East Coast. Jeff Deforrest and one Mike Lubitz, the Defo Show here on Ion Channel and our various other platforms. And great to be with you later on after hours on the Believe Network, BLEAV. And I don't know what we're doing today. Are we just chewing a fat, Libby, on that thing?
We may not have anything today. I have something at 10 I have to do. And then we have the Mayo Lunchbox Extravaganza. So just go there. We've had a lot of really fun stuff. I talked with a sports lawyer the end of last week, and we talked a lot of NIL. So BLEAV.com, search after hours. And then we'll have more new content tomorrow. So definitely check us out there.
Beautiful. All right. Yeah, I like that it's a scratch today. Because, you have to kind of ease back into this.
I give you a day
I don't know.
off.
How am I holding up so far?
You're fine.
I just sort of adapted to the idea that I'm back on this 6-hour time frame earlier than it was when we were, roaming around the streets of Rome. When in Rome, too. A lot of severed skulls, though. Isn't that like a weird thing for a city to have its theme built around and its foundation and its historical perspective all built around severed heads? Let that sink in. All right, back with more on the Defo Show here in a moment. Now that.
The time.
You believe we ended up sneaking into the opera, Louis? That was my favorite moment. I mean, it was a night at the opera with Mustang and Defo.
And you got in for free.
And, I don't know why they got all shook up when I started singing with the guy, because I could relate to his position, even though I had no idea what they were talking about. But it was, a disgrace, whatever he had done to this woman. And she let him know about it. And then her father, I think, came out. Now, I don't know. The story might be just completely different. But it appeared to me that this was what was going on.
I love that.
And the guy was cowering in a corner like a masked wrestler, begging for mercy, and still singing at the top of his lungs. Unbelievable. Bocelli has nothing on these guys. Nothing. I mean, I'm not sure if it was like an amateur performance. I think it was very professional. I really do. I mean, the place was called the Teatro d'Opera, and it was
I'm sure it's a real spot. Yes, I'm sure it's real. And they wanted to get some Americans in there. That worked to your favor.
How do I roll into like the equivalent of the Metropolitan Opera without a ticket?
I love it.
Wearing a T-shirt and a pair of shorts. and am escorted. I guess it was the Mustang's beauty and charm.
Yeah, she probably did something. I don't know.
Yeah, because I was outside schwitzing. It was 1,000 degrees outside. But I wanted to go, man. And I was like, sort of my idea. Yeah, I kept pushing. I said, yeah, you want to go see these three tenors, but she was expecting like Pavarotti, and it was not. Literally, the guy that popped on stage was selling gelato at the store next door. Pistachio, I said. Pistachio. No, the green one. No, not the chocolate mint. Right? Is pistachio your favorite flavor of gelato? I'll have to ask Mayo that.
Yeah, ask him that. I don't know if we have pistachio.
All right. No, that happens to be my favorite. Like of any ice cream. I mean, go out of my way. I can't say that, but I only popped for one gelato while I was there. One gelato.
Yeah, I wanted it the whole time in both, because Greece, it's the same thing. Like every corner, there's gelato. Like they live for their gelato in Greece and in Italy. And I wanted it the whole time because it's everywhere and everyone's eating it, and it's just all over the place.
Everywhere, yeah, it doesn't matter, man. People are going into the opera with like a cone attached to their face.
Always.
Wearing elegant gowns and, very exquisite Italian suits. Oh, sola mio. You couldn't help but sing with this guy, though. I mean, he was suffering so at the hands of this evil father who came in to just teach him a lesson. I mean, if you could get spanked, just by the sound of a man's voice, that's what this, happening was. I don't know what opera it was, though, Lubie. I mean, are there more? How many operas are there? Like varieties of opera.
A lot. A lot.
I kind of like the clown opera, though. Where the guy, it's a lot of joking around, even though the guy's like slashing his wrists. Or severing heads. I'm surprised there wasn't a head rolling down the aisle when we got in there. How did we get in for free, though, Lubie?
I don't know.
The guy literally opened the side door and gave us a little motion, like, Go ahead, sit down over there. And I thought like he was just giving us like a glimpse of the thing, so I was like a little panicky. And then
Like,
I was like, no, you just close the door and sit. What's two more?
Yeah, exactly, that's great.
All right, coming back with more here on the Defo Show. Great to be with you in a moment. Now that
The time.
it's 8:23. Poker is your game. You're covered in style. And you can play all your favorite Vegas-style games, including blackjack, craps, and roulette, in Hialeah Park's sizzling hot casino. Get a player's card when you walk through the door for all kinds of generous amenities, including our favorite, free play, when you come out to the ultimate casino and entertainment destination, Hialeah Park.
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill in the Plantation location, because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right at home.
Catholic Health Services is committed to care that changes as your needs do. Our full continuum of services is designed to be there throughout your care journey. If you need assistance with daily living, post-acute care following a serious health event, or additional medical care at home, we also offer skilled nursing and palliative and hospice care. Your care needs may change, but our commitment never does. Catholic Health Services, South Florida's #1 choice for post-acute and end-of-life care. Visit CatholicHealthServices.org.
You know, people don't like being lied to. That's always the thing. With Pete Rose, if he had just said, of course I bet the Reds. What are you talking about? I had money on every game. We know you did, Pete. It's all right. I mean, now it'd be accepted. In fact, they would have it's only a matter of time before the manager of the two teams is asked who he likes in the game. All right, we're going down on the field there. We got Tony La Russa. Tony, what do you think tonight? White Sox minus 135? Well, you know, we're going to go to the pen right away, and I'm going to make like 7 righty-lefty switches at inappropriate times, and I'm going to wear out my bullpen. In fact, all of these guys worked in the game last night, so I would think this. I would take the points, take the runs, and take the price on the Boston Red Sox tonight to beat us. I would not lay 135 to win 100 on the Chicago White Sox. Okay, thanks, Tony. Let's go to Alex Cora. Cora, what do you got? Well, you know, we got all our heavy hitters at the beginning of the lineup tonight, and they really pound this White Sox pitcher the last time he was out there. So I would think that we're a good bet, money line, straight up. When's that going to happen? I mean, that's going to be part of the pregame shows now.
Enjoy your trip to work with lots of laughs thanks to Defo and Lubie. Now on the Defo Show.
Welcome back to the show. Good to be with you here at the Defo Show on ION Channel. Jeff Deforrest and Mike Lubitz, and with you till 9 o'clock here on the East Coast. First day back, a little bit of ring rust, but you know, just I don't know. It's so much fun to be in front of you people here talking about the sporting world and various other things. That just feels good. Lubie, it feels good to be back in the so-called big chair here. Even though did have a little catastrophe early on, equipment failure here, and I'm not sure how to fix this, so that may be a while.
You look good. I don't know. I mean,
new lighting configuration.
People have to tell me because I have low standards when it comes to that stuff. But
yes.
From my end,
no, that's been discussed many times.
I'm
your
sure.
Low standards in this regard.
Yeah, well, I'm being told by other people certain things matter more than others, and then we'll catch up with the other things. But anyways, you look good to me, and I have usually our people are very quick to tell us when shit's wrong. So,
I don't look like I need a standing 8 count after getting off.
I don't think so.
The plane there, but I had a day to recover, so that was good, and it was absolutely necessary to
That's what I told you.
Readjusted to.
When did you get here Sunday? Like when did you actually land?
Oh, we got in late in the afternoon.
Yeah, okay.
So, you know, I had a little time to unwind there, and then I was a little discombobulated, and yesterday would have been a rough one for me to get up and do the show. So I'm glad that you were able to carry on. And no less, I mean, you know, a guy that was a genuine media critic with much acclaim back in the day when he was writing for the Sun Sentinel, Jim Sarney said that you did a great job flying solo while I was gone.
I appreciate it, and Jim was.
I didn't hear that from anybody else, though. I can assure you.
I'm sure. People were very nice and supportive, and
There was always a theory that you wanted to have a weak substitute whenever you left these kind of jobs or positions for
I've
a
heard
while.
it,
Yeah.
so I'm sure it fit that well.
Because every now and then, the guy who was weak to begin with, who had the position, would have a strong substitute. In fact, I got a little lucky in that regard in my beginnings in Miami. That people thought I was, a decent option for even the regular mainstay talent. And then next thing you know, one thing led to another, and here we are today. Doing this same thing. All right, so many things happened. I mean, it transpired, and we did see Pat Riley surface yesterday. Pat Riley, the great Pat Riley.
It was like a 2-hour pressure that
He
never
challenged Ira Winderman to a push-up contest. I mean, talk about picking your opposition. Being able to pick your opponents. I don't think Jerry Cooney had his opponents as handpicked, as Pat Riley was intimating when he, stuck a finger out in the air there and pointed right at Ira Winderman. Now, Winderman's not in bad shape. I don't know. Could Winderman outdo Pat Riley in a push-up contest? I don't think so. Riley looked amazingly fit, did he not? He's 77 years old. Holy Michelangelo.
I didn't realize he was 77. That was the thing. And the fact that he's 77 and he still is as ornery and motivated as ever caught me off guard. Totally.
See, I don't know. I mean, is it me? I mean, after you lose, you lose. Well, what are you going to do? You're going to agonize over it forever? I mean, you lose a game, you lose a game. Okay? If you know you're very good and you should have beaten this opponent and you thought you should have won, okay, then figure it out, as Mike Westhoff alluded to in the title of his book, right? The former coach there, special teams coach, who we owe it to Mike to give him a call.
I'll try to get him on tomorrow, honestly. I was waiting for you.
Yeah.
I was going to have him on the show without you. So.
Oh, I love Westy, and it's true. I mean, you figure it out. I don't know, but Riley, really, I mean, this is something that he freely admits that he was like sick after the Heat went down to the Boston Celtics. Sick.
He hates the Celtics. He has a strong hatred. Ainge may be gone, but his thing with the Celtics going back to the Lakers is very strong.
Imagine it. I mean, that would be the thing. And I love Pat Riley. And anytime, I've probably interviewed him. Maybe 20 times, on different shows that I was on. He was always great. I made that individual video for us to celebrate the 10 years that we had on the air. Little did he know, that we were in the twilight of that run. We said it at the time. I mean, there's no guarantee, we make it to, 10 years in one day in that record, right? They were likely, in fact, I think it would have delighted the management there more if they had been able to call us during that anniversary show. When Dan Marino was taking time out of his busy day to give us like 20 minutes of laughter on the air there and reminiscing about all the great things that happened during his Dolphin tenure, talking about a lot of people. I mean, how great was that? Didn't you feel good?
Yes.
You're thinking, wow, this is a real tribute. But if management had their way at the previous stop there that we had at 940 Wins here in Miami, a fine iHeartMedia outlet, which now is, I don't know. Do you root against him? You think Gerard Gallant wants to win this Stanley Cup just to stick it in the rear end of Vinny Viola and the Florida Panthers?
I would say no. I mean, he seems to be doing a lot better than the Panthers.
Do you get that way, though? I mean,
I do. Oh, yeah.
You take delight in the suffering of those that have done you wrong or who you perceive to have maybe wronged you or done a backstabbing maneuver.
Talking to you, and you've been like this the entire time. I try not to worry about those. I try to move forward. Yeah. But when certain things pop up and you see that things aren't going as well as when we were there, yes, I do snicker. Like, oh, really?
Man. Let's face it. As any kind of performing artist, if you could call it what we're doing, I mean, you like to see the fact that these people look like fools now, bury themselves in a hideous mistake, and can't resurrect, what they had going before because they're too asinine to admit that they made a mistake.
Pretty much.
Correct?
Yeah.
It's the way of the world. This is the decision-making, level of business in America. No wonder we're going into the twilight.
It makes me feel better because Riley, you would think, okay, the more success you have, the less you do that. No. The more success you have, the more they do it. Like Riley.
I never felt that way. I mean, I really don't harbor any bitterness towards anybody that I've ever worked for in the past or, anybody that I've dealt with. Well, what are you going to do? I mean, at one point they gave you an opportunity. It's up to you to make the most of it. And you know that there are no guarantees. When you have a run of like 40 years in a certain business, in any type of performing, you're either just a lucky stiff, or you had a good run, and maybe you were very good at what you did, and it's up to you to get the most out of it, just like it's up to us now. With this thing that's going on here, but I never was inclined. I would think Gerard Gallant. I doubt that he has the Panthers organization on his mind. Because, if the Rangers can win this game tonight, Lubie, I mean, think about it, right? This Gerard Gallant accomplished something. We mentioned this the other week that only Mike Keenan was able to do. And Brett Tessler, that was interesting, his allusion to the hockey coaches, because, there are certain guys that can come in and immediately ignite a team and get the franchise rolling, but to sustain it, they wear out their welcome very quickly. Well, Tortorella being one of those guys.
Well, Tortorella is well known for that. Gallant went to the Kings too, right? Didn't he take the Kings to a cup?
No, he went to Las Vegas.
The Knights. Okay,
and he took them to the Stanley Cup final.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. It would have been his second if he can win this series. And the Rangers were not thought to be a Stanley Cup contender.
No, there was no mention of that. Yeah. No.
They can take two different franchises to the Stanley Cup. He's not worried about the Panthers. Like to me, he would have been far removed from whatever. You
don't think secretly he's laughing at the unceremonious departure that he had with the Florida Panthers, literally leaving him on a bus stop.
Yeah, and they haven't gone anywhere since.
On a snowy street in Saskatchewan.
I love how you
just throwing him off the bus. Hey, Jerry, you're out. What do you mean I'm out? Out what? Out where? And they gave him cab fare. They crushed like whatever, a couple of Canadian coins in his hand and said, "Here, take a taxi, and here's a pair of snowshoes. You might need these." You can't get dumped. I don't know that I've ever seen a more inglorious dumping of a coach. Billy Martin, when he got fired 6 times by George Steinbrenner, it was never as ugly and painful to think about as that. Was it? I mean, it's like when Jim McKinley told me about how they ripped the name off the locker of the kicker who missed the possible game-winning field goal when he was playing in the USFL and he was coaching the Oklahoma Outlaws. And before the guy even got to his locker, his name had been removed. This guy, they shoved off the bus. They shoved him off the bus, Lubie.
Look, I think he snickers.
How
and
indignant
smiles.
is that? You get kicked out of a guy's car, right? You're smoking in a guy's car. He says, "Hey, you know what? Fuck you, Lubie. You're out of here," and leaves you on the road. Some girl, that you're having a fight with in a car, and you say, "You know what? Just let me out here," right?
Yeah.
Because this is getting ugly, right? So she lets you out, and then you realize I'm in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, exactly. And she drives off.
How the hell am I going to get out of here? So for that one demonstrative move where you finally felt like you had the upper hand, oh yeah, take that.
Yeah, no way.
Boom. You end up the loser.
I'd be screwed. That's stupid.
So Riley, it surprised me though. A man of his distinction, yes. I can't see him like being physically ill, as he described it, and you could see he meant it.
Oh no, he still lives and dies with it. It's crazy. At 77.
I think people say we were exaggerating how he felt when he got stiffed at that Las Vegas meeting. He was supposed to have LeBron.
We underestimated it.
We badly underestimated that to the point of embarrassment. He must have been face down in front of the circus. Where like no cars even come to pick people up at the circus. No cars, no taxis even come through there. None, zero. Nobody that goes there can afford a cab, and no cab driver wants to come and pick anybody up that just left the circus. Even if you went to the steakhouse. And there's Riley face down in front. I mean, literally, just getting trampled by the losers that go into this place. And they're on their way out after being emptied out. And there's, the distinguished, basketball genius, executive of the century, Pat Riley. And he is just crushed in defeat because LeBron James decided that it ain't happening, Pat. I'm going to Cleveland. I'm going home. Him and the Mick embarrassed themselves. I mean, it was just, sad. Mickey Harrison, right? Private jet. They probably wouldn't even let it take off after that. Saying what? No, LeBron's got clearance first there, Mickey. You wait.
Look, that's the thing is that for me as a Heat fan, though, it makes me because you and I've talked about this for the last 5 years, like how motivated is Riley to stay. It's scary that he's this motivated. I almost feel for him that he's still this.
Is it
motivated.
that he can't let it go? I mean, this
100%. Well, he wants to leave with them in good hands. Like you can tell between Nick Arison, Andy Ellisberg, and Spoelstra that they'll be able to handle it. But he wants to make sure that they have the right foundation.
How much do you think he's doing, though? I mean, you
don't
saw
know.
Derek Jeter at the ball game every day, and you couldn't figure out what this guy was doing. And I don't think we'll ever know what Derek Jeter was doing with the Miami Marlins.
Well, I think Jeter wanted to do more and he wasn't. I think Riley, we all thought wasn't doing a lot.
Yeah.
That presser, he's involved in some way. I'll tell you that right now because he's hurt from that loss. It's like, dude, if you're far removed, you're not.
You would have thought he played. You really would have.
Yes.
And he missed a game-winning three instead of Jimmy Butler.
Like he's answering, and he knows everyone by name. Like he's talking about Duncan, and he calls him Max, and he's like Tyler. I'm like, what are you doing, Riley? What are you doing? Like, why are you this involved?
Well, that's the thing about a basketball team, though. I mean, it's small enough where you can be sort of intimate about the people that play for you, especially if they're on the team for a couple of years. So he said that Lowry needs to get in shape.
Yep.
That ain't good.
No,
Pat doesn't like that. And, you can't imagine Jimmy Butler is going to allow a fat guy to go pudging around out there and be a shell of himself and pull a hammy every time he bends down to pick up a piece of paper. And Bam Adebayo, I mean, everybody's been saying the same thing for a long time.
Aggressive.
Needs to get more aggressive on the offensive end and try to dominate a little bit more, which he might be capable of, right?
Besides, he did it 2 games in the series.
Yeah.
Like he shows flashes of it. Look, Riley said it in the different way because that's why he's Riley. He was like, "We put too much on him. It's on us to find out how to do it."
Yeah.
He's not wrong. I mean, Skolnick has said that. Like when I slam Bam, he's like, "It's not Bam. Like someone has to get him the ball. Someone has to put him in the right position, or they need to work on it where he's more confident in controlling the basketball."
He does seem passive at times. He'll come out to the high post there, catch the ball, and just immediately dish it off into the corner.
Yep.
And you're thinking, put some pressure on these guys, Bam Adebayo. You're a beast.
Yep.
Makes sense. And I mean, how do you not get that through to a player? You would think a player would enjoy becoming more assertive and more aggressive. As opposed to, especially a physical position like Bam Adebayo plays. And obviously he's going to be a guy that's going to be trying to do something on the interior of a basketball court that is far more wide open than it used to be. I mean, it's not like he's banging with Bell's Bellamy in there.
No, the paint's probably...
The paint's far more wide open because of the ridiculous proliferation of threes, which my man Phil Mushnick keeps saying is absolutely an abortion.
Well, if you're watching this series, the Celtics, which should be that old school team, no, they shoot a lot of threes. And the Warriors, I mean, we know what the Warriors do. They just jack
Well,
up.
and one shot Steph Curry took, before the end of the half there, where
that was
he
Poole.
literally...
The kid Poole did it.
Oh,
no,
yeah?
Curry before half. Poole did it before the end of the third. Sorry.
Yeah, that was one step over the half-court stripe, and he shot it as if he was shooting free throws, to see whose side he was going to be on at the beginning of the game. Unbelievable.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, they do make that look a lot easier than it is, but the percentages when they're bad are just especially putrefyingly ugly. And, and Mushnick in the New York Post, of course, the media critic there, and, he comments on a lot of different things. And, yeah, I mean, he may be a little bit sour. Would you say, Phil Mushnick?
A little. He's like mean. But he's not always wrong.
No, I mean, some of his themes, he pounds him into Mike Tyson territory, Bolivian, but, not that we don't hear. But Mushnick especially, I mean, there are only so many times that you can mention what a rip-off PSLs are, personal seat licensing.
I haven't heard that in years. He's still...
he works that in every time, right?
Oh, God.
It's like if something happens to you and you have any kind of celebrity stature, which I experienced myself there, as minor as it was, there's always an allusion in by certain people to whatever it was that, seemed to be, maybe a little bit out of bounds with whatever the legal guidelines were at the time. Those things are always mentioned. You know what I'm talking about. All right, so at least we need to bring it up again. I mean, it isn't worth it. But anyway, and every time he mentions Roger Goodell, he mentions that Roger Goodell, the guy who told you that PSLs were a good idea. and a great
He's
investment.
still talking about that's funny.
Which you can now buy the seat next to the poor schmuck that paid $50,000 a season for this personal seat license to go to a Giants game where they're 4-13 every year.
Yep.
And that guy sitting next to him, the fat guy with the popcorn, is able to afford the popcorn because he only paid $8 for the ticket.
Exactly.
He's on StubHub, and and you're looking and going, how is it possible that this rich MFer has been so classically, just absolutely, royally hosed. And here's this poor schmuck from, somewhere in Totowa, whose last sporting event was a Bobby Ches fight at the skating rink. And he's got $8 tickets to go see the Giants on the 50-yard line. It's crazy. All right, we're coming back with more. Don't forget about Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill and Hialeah Park, two of our fine sponsors, man. We appreciate their support, along with Catholic Health Services, Texas Roadhouse, and all of the other fine people represented here on the show. It's the Defo Show. I'm reluctant, but I'm thinking about sending this guy an email.
No,
the guy that's got the
please don't
170 dimes.
Please just leave it alone, please.
He's got throat cancer, for God's sake. We'll be to check out tomorrow. What are you talking about?
Please leave it alone.
That gets him right away, man.
I know you're almost 71, but from what I know, you haven't been a doddering old man yet. Let's not go there willingly. Fight it.
I don't think I've been completely duped financially yet.
No, you haven't.
Old age. Yeah.
So let's not. Let's hold on there.
All right, so you're saying that's an unwise maneuver.
Leave it alone. Andy's like, if you actually gave, Andy Man was actually like, if you actually give them your info, your account info, good luck.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun what they do with that account. So just leave it alone.
Oh, no, that would be a butcher job. You talk about a severed head. You'd be getting alarms from your bank all day. Good morning, Mr. Deforrest. Did you really mean to clean out your account in its entirety and unload the money to some unknown foreign address?
Why does it say Spain?
No, not really. I mean, is that what happened? Oh, yeah, I sent that schmo an email.
Yeah, leave it alone.
Okay, no, I'm going to dodge that. I just think it's hysterical that it came up on our show chat line here today.
Yes, it's weird.
As if this guy wanted to know whether to bet the money on the Celtics. Right, I'm back. Tell him to put it all on Boston, laying 3.5 tomorrow night. See how much he has left. All right. I was talking to this guy, though. I just want to get this in really quickly here while I remembered that this was a line of conversation I was aiming towards like about an hour and a half ago.
Pretty much.
But the Celtics, before the season, the Celtics, I think, were 50-1 to win the championship in the NBA. They were not highly regarded.
Yes.
In spite of having Jason Tatum, obviously he hadn't blossomed to this level of stardom. Even though he was obviously on the rise and very much established going into this year, he wasn't necessarily going to be recognized as being this good. And the Jaylen Brown thing, people didn't know. Could they coexist? They were still asking that question. You had a first-year coach in Udoka and not a lot of large expectations, did you, for the Boston Celtics?
And they started out poor, which made their expectations even less.
Right. So now you have this in-season adjustment betting, which is being encouraged all over the place. Of course, you're already into the Celtics at 50-1. Why wouldn't you bet them when it looked like it was impossible for them to even make the playoffs at like 100-1?
Yep, going harder. Yep.
All right. So, and that begs a magic question. I think it's, there's only one answer here. And that is, let's say you had done it. All right. You took a dime out of the bank and you said, as poorly as they're playing, as much dysfunction as there seems to be inside the Celtics organization, I'm going to forget the fact that I hated Danny Ainge, and I'm going to go ahead and bet every dime of this 1,000 on the Celtics at 100-1. All right. Now you're sitting there 1-1 in the finals. Before that series started, what would you not have unloaded? You're going to win $100,000 if you win this bet.
You have to hedge like a monster. I would be hedging just to hedge at that point. Like, are you kidding me?
Do you hedge 10? Do you hedge 20?
Gotta hedge a lot. Like, if you actually make it through this whole fucking season, get to 2 Game 7s where they should have lost both series, get to the Warriors. Oh my God.
Well, I mean, there's no way that you should leave yourself in a position to lose the 1,000. That would be my belief. No way. I mean, Any mathematical permutation would lead you to the conclusion that, you know what, because I've gotten this far by like bizarre luck, I mean, winning Game 7 on the road against the Miami Heat, who had looked so sharp in Game 6.
Yep.
In front of Pat Riley. In front of Pat Riley and Bob McAdoo.
I know.
Gods of basketball are looking on and putting their heart and soul into the Miami Heat. And you win that game. And you've got $100,000 coming if they win the finals. I mean, don't you hedge off what? I'd say
10 grand. I'd say 10. I'd say 10
at a minimum. Yeah,
I'd say 10 because winning 90 is a monster score, and if you win 10, at least okay, cool. You know,
right? You didn't lose a dime. You win 9,000 for the season for making what seemed to be just an absolutely mindlessly stupid bet.
The Andy
when they were buried, I mean, you waited until they were the ruins of Pompeii, my friend.
Yeah. Andy Man's go 25K, which is actually even more because 75 is a really nice score, and 25.
Yes.
Either way, you have a nice score, and that way you're like sitting pretty. You can enjoy the series and not fucking stress out the whole series.
Yes, because either way you win at that point.
Yep, that's win-win.
And that's what I said to this gentleman. That was my concluding thought to him. I hope I imparted some wisdom to him. I said, either way you win.
Yep.
And that's an admirable position to be in.
Yes. That's a rare. As a gambler, that's a very rare. That's a rare position to be in.
Forget about this lawyer that won the Johnny Depp case. She's become a big deal. I think her last name is Vasquez. It's in Jacinto.
Oh, Camille, the one that she's like the third lawyer. That's what's great. She was like
the
associate, and she just was a monster. Like my wife's in love with her.
Yeah. Who was the chick with the big, blonde afro? Abramson. Leslie Abramson, was that her name?
Oh,
she was in the Menendez brothers trial.
Yeah.
She was particularly, rough on the people. You know, Leslie Abramson. I want to say I'm going to go with that. Right? She had like a big kind of bozoic hair, but but she was effective. I didn't see a lot of the Depp trial. And I wouldn't have been inclined to watch too much of it. I mean, as we said, the great part about it was that you had two actors testifying.
Yes. That was the only entertaining part. They made it like a movie.
And they bought none of Amber Heard. I mean, she could have produced marks like she had just fought Tommy Hearns. I see nothing there. That was a bizarre whole thing.
I don't know.
I thought that they were going to award Johnny Depp $1. It was going to be like the USFL trial.
Yeah.
And then maybe trebly damages to $3, and he would have felt like Donald Trump walking away with that $3 check going, way to bury a league, Donnie. Way to bury a league. We'll come back and wrap this thing up. Been a lot of fun being with you. I will not contact this gentleman here with the €150,000 who's dying of throat cancer in, what is it, Senegal? Where is this guy located?
I think they said Spain.
Somewhere in Romania?
It was Spain.
Where are the internet criminals really hanging out like that?
Spain, but lives in France.
Yeah.
So you saying Italy because they're listening all the time hit some nerve, and because we haven't had anything like this ever. So I don't know. I don't know why that would happen on that.
Is this one of the gypsy people who had that same picture of the two kids? Same two kids, miles away
in southern to northern
This
Italy.
gypsy is trying to feed these two poor starving children. Unbelievable, man. They really were the most relentless salespeople that I've ever seen in terms of begging. The gypsies
seen if they want a
of
job.
the streets of Rome.
We could use that.
We could put them on the streets here.
need
Ion
that
Channel will be sold out
desperately.
for a lifetime. Jackie, I have nothing to worry about. I'm going to hire a gypsy to sell the show.
There you go. We could use that.
Probably have a better shot. All right, we'll come back with more here in a moment. Once again, Hialeah Park. Wow, Belmont Stakes coming up. That's going to be dynamite. Frank Fiore. I mean, do you love Frankie's attention to detail? You talk about Pat Riley, Frankie agonizes over every detail. He really does. And you know what? It's his anxiety that makes it all go here because he makes sure that they get it right no matter what, under all circumstances. It's never a problem. Snap a finger, bingo, something's happening. Very much like the service we had at the various hotels we checked into in our 3 stops in Italy. You could not have been more attentive.
Yeah, they're on
to
it.
the needs of the people. Yeah, I mean, really, really super. And they made you feel like they wanted you there. That's how it is at Hialeah Park, right? Not cold like that, James Bond casino in Venice. I mean, just warmth and you feel great. Great place to punch away. We were there for the Kentucky Derby. It was absolutely fantastic. I mean, the excitement, the enthusiasm in the room. And when those guys behind us, they must have had this horse at
Yes, they definitely
80 to
did.
1.
Yep.
Wow.
They told us.
The guy high-fived me so hard, I thought I got punched by Deontay Wilder. Like I was doing mitts, before, and Wilder was, starting to picture the fact that he really hated to get in there with Tyson Fury. Hated him, right? He thought Tyson was full of crap, and then boom, cracks your right hand. But that's the kind of enthusiasm you get there. It's a tremendous spirit. It'll be a great place to take in the Belmont Stakes. It's Hialeah Park, champion simulcasting room, casino, poker room, all kinds of entertainment, great food and drink. It's all happening at beautiful Hialeah Park. All right, coming back with more in a moment. Now that.
The time.
8:53.
Tony Segreto here. Let me ask you a question. What do you look for when you go out to eat? Good food, obviously, friendly atmosphere, not too loud, but good energy, reasonable prices, and a place where you feel comfortable. You're talking about the Texas Roadhouse. Good for a family, good for a date, or just a night out for yourself, and prices that will make you extremely happy. Their ribs unmatched, steaks hand cut every day. Everything, and I mean everything, is made on site, including their incredible bread. Trust me when I tell you, Texas Roadhouse, your restaurant, your destination when you say, where should we go and eat tonight?
From the newly renovated sports bar to the beautiful bayside views captured at the Tiki Bar, Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill has it all. Located at mile marker 104, the Big Chill also offers waterfront dining while experiencing breathtaking sunset views of the Florida Keys. It's simply the hottest spot in the Keys to cool off. That's Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill at mile marker 104 in Key Largo. For more information, call today at 305-453-9066.
Any time of year, things can happen to your home or business, and the insurance company can be your friend, but they also can be your enemy. Horizon Public Adjusters, Justina Testa, are here for you to help this process go so much easier. 7 to 10 times more money recovered with a public adjuster than if you went on your own. If there's no recovery, there's no fee. Before you call your insurance company, call Horizon Public Adjusters and Justina Testa at 954-809-8752.
I have sinned against you, my Lord.
The only way to get your morning started is with Defo, joined by Lubie, right here on The Defo Show.
All right, welcome back to the show. A lot of fun being with you today. Jeff Deforrest, Mike Lubitz here. I on channel, various other streaming formats, video, audio. We do it all for you here on the Defo Show. You can Google the Defo Show and catch the complete archive of Defo shows, which there now is an established and substantial archive of shows that we put together here for you, and it feels good to be so-called back in the saddle again. The Rangers game tonight against the Lightning.
Yes, sir.
Wow, I mean,
Lightning.
Khrushchev, man, he banged the shoe once again there. It was a big factor in this game. It did look like, and this always scares me when you have a champion on the threshold of defeat. And it was one of the things that we'll never know the answer to about that French Open when Nadal was going in the semifinal against Sasha Zverev, the German tennis player who had been playing very well. I mean, there were a lot of guys that were doing top-notch work on the red clay. I was surprised Tsitsipas kind of faded out early in the French Open. I thought maybe he might do something, that he was maturing. It shows you how tough it is and how amazing it is to be one of the big three and to have dominated. Brett Tessler was talking about the dominance of the Patriots organization. Remarkable under the circumstances. I mean, to have like Nadal, Djokovic, and Federer
For
dominate
so long.
tennis the way they did.
Yep.
And Nadal still winning slam events. Now, Joker's probably going to win a few more. I don't doubt that.
Yeah.
And
He's
may
really
end up
close.
as the all-time leader, even though Nadal now has a 2 Grand Slam edge over Novak Djokovic. But Nadal is possibly going to make his exit this year.
Yeah.
At 36. He's
You would
banged up
think.
a ton of injuries. He's played remarkably well this year. Now, we know he's a monster on the red clay. He's won the tournament 14 times. So
Yes.
what is that? That's 7 times 14 is 70 plus 28. So that's 98 matches there. And then he had to win a few matches before his 3 losses. I'm sure he'd won a few early rounds. But so his record would be something like 120-3.
No, it's
in
insane.
matches at the
What
French
do you mean?
Open.
If he makes it to the finals, he doesn't lose. He's 14-0. He's never lost in the finals.
Never lost in the finals. Talk about Tony
That's
Segreto,
insane.
and who's going to join us tomorrow and being in a moment.
Big moment.
And in this case, now this other half of the draw was a lot softer than what Nadal had to deal with because he had to mow down Djokovic first, and then Zverev, who rolled an ankle and had to retire after he's 6-6 in the second set, about to go to the tiebreaker. And he had lost a tiebreaker that he was seemingly in command of in the first set. So we don't know, would Nadal have made it out of that match, because Zverev is in great shape and had been playing a lot of the red clay tournaments leading up to this one. I think he was in action every week and went deep into all of those tournaments. And I believe he won one of those. So he'd been playing great. And who knows? I mean, if Nadal wears out in a match that already had 24 games played, plus an extensive tiebreaker that Nadal won 10-8. But, wow, I mean, what a performance, though. You have to say, overall, by this guy who's fighting all kinds of injuries. He said, I can't feel my leg. I mean, I guess he got juiced before the
got the Jimmy
final
Butler
matchup there with his chronically, ailing foot. And so he was kind of like walking around there on one foot, like Chester from Gunsmoke, and still was able to carve out just a crucifying. I mean, destroyed this guy, Casper Ruud, who'd been playing very, very well. So that was interesting. And now they're onto the grass courts and Wimbledon. Now, does Joker bounce back and win Wimbledon? That would be the question.
Yeah, that's the kind of, I can see that. It feels like that's the move. I mean, look, your guy Alcaraz got sort of dispatched, and
Alcaraz
I
surprisingly exit, the tournament early.
Yeah.
And Medvedev is not the same since he's kind of come back. So maybe he gets it back together. He may be he seems to be off form. Medvedev, who was the number 1 player in the world and was winning everything, right? This skinny, schmanky looking guy looks like Ichabod Crane out there. And man, he was, becoming a dominant force in tennis, even exceeding like Djokovic, who hasn't really rounded completely into form since that whole cockamamie thing that he had going on with the Australian Open.
The COVID and all that.
Yeah. So there's a score to be made there, though, right? Coco was 2-1. Jim Sarney pointed out to me that Coco was 2-1 against Sloane Stephens, who isn't as good as Coco is at this point.
Not right now, no.
She's trying to bounce back from being in a long slump, and Coco's on the rise. So you were gifted from the gods of gambling a 2-1 proposition in what was a straight set whitewashing by the lovely Coco Graf.
Yes.
And then I thought that the other girl, she went against some Italian girl in the semifinal round, and I thought she would have no chance against Coco. And then likewise, Coco against Swiatek. Nobody's beating that girl.
Not right now.
How much longer can she run?
I don't know.
What do you think?
35 in a row is insane.
35 in a row, Serena-esque. All right, that's going to do it for us. We hope to get on a long winning streak here on Ion Channel and our other platforms. For Mike Lubitz, great being back with you. We'll do it again tomorrow. We'll have Tony Segreto with us, going old school. Brought to you by Texas Roadhouse Restaurants and Catholic Health Services. Until then, you guys have a great day. Good to be back with you. We'll do it again tomorrow at 7 here. I'm Jeff Deforrest for Mike Lubitz saying so long as we leave you know that.
The time.
Did I almost do it? Did I almost do a Gordon Soley there?
Yeah, you were about to do it. I'm like, okay, I guess he can if he wants.
So long from the Sunshine State. It's 9:01.
Let's go to eat a damn snack.
Look what they done to my soul.